Chapter 9:15. Yang Dingtian let out a long sigh of relief, but then he became nervous again. The Mermaid Queen's summon meant that the battle was about to begin. That's right, this was a battle. Even though it looked very erotic and was actually very erotic, it was still a battle. But then, the Mermaid Queen said, "Bring her here too." The Mermaid Queen was referring to was Princess Li of the Dagger. But it was strange that she said her and didn't call out her name. She summoned him to attack her with lightning. What did it have to do with Princess Li of the Dagger? Could it be that they were going to have a threesome? This absurd thought only flashed past Yang Dingtian's mind for a moment. Princess Li of the Dagger's beautiful face turned pale and then red. She whispered, "Your Majesty, what do you want to do?" Yang Dingtian said, "I don't know." Princess Li of the Dagger's breathing became heavy. "Don't even think about doing anything to me." Yang Dingtian carried her and walked towards the Mermaid Queen's palace. Princess Li of the Dagger didn't have any strength now. Her whole body was locked up and she couldn't walk at all. So, Yang Dingtian had to take care of her every day, including eating and bathing, and even more intimate things. It was because of this that Princess Li of the Dagger couldn't stop herself from falling. Soon enough, Yang Dingtian carried the sharp blade concubine and entered the Mermaid Queen's bedroom. She still had her back to Yang Dingtian, standing under the window. The curves of the mountains were still beautiful and breathtaking. "Wow, what a loving couple," the Mermaid Queen said in a hoarse voice. "Princess Li of the Dagger, do you still have the aura of the female leader of the internal guards?" Princess Li of the Dagger trembled. "Your Majesty, that's because my cultivation is locked up. I can't even lift a finger." "Is that so?" the Mermaid Queen said. "But what about your eyebrows? Your eyes? Your lips? Your shoulders?" Princess Li of the Dagger said, "Your Majesty, is there a problem with these parts of my body?" The Mermaid Queen said, "Previously, your eyebrows were always tense, like a small knife. But now it had softened, as delicate as a painting. Previously, your eyes were only slightly narrowed. You maintained a focused gaze at all times and maintained vigilance. But now, your eyes are completely lazy and even have a hint of shyness. In the past, your mouth had always been tight, as if the muscles at the corners of your mouth were also frozen. Therefore, although your face was very beautiful, it was as hard as a knife. Right now, your beautiful little mouth is already a little curved. Even though you don't want to smile, your heart is already smiling. You are so sweet that you can't help but overflow. And your shoulders, they were always in a state of battle before, but now they are completely dependent on you." After hearing what the Mermaid Queen had to say, not only was Fierce Knife Princess shocked, but even Yang Dingtian was shocked. The Fierce Knife concubine felt that her entire body was indeed as the Mermaid Queen had said. The Mermaid Queen's insight was really, really amazing. Finally, the Mermaid Queen turned around and looked at Fierce Knife Princess. "Looking at the corners of your eyes, everyone knows that you have fallen and are ready to let this man take over your everything at any moment. Look at your hair, it is already starting to cover up the domineering short hair. You are already preparing to grow it out." Fierce Knife Princess suddenly felt uneasy and wanted to untie her hair. The Mermaid Queen looked into Fierce Knife Princess' eyes and said, "Then tell me now, my leader of the internal guards, have you fallen for this demon eel beside you? You have to tell the truth, okay?" Suddenly, Fierce Knife Princess fell into a struggle and hesitation. It was not that she did not dare to admit it, but the Mermaid Queen in front of her was completely temperamental. Any answer she gave would be risky. However, Fierce Knife Princess was not a very scheming girl. After a short consideration, she could only choose to tell the truth. She nodded and said, "Yes, Your Majesty, please punish me." "Okay, I understand." The Mermaid Queen said coquettishly, "Then what about Surimo Luo? Didn't you say that you only electrocuted me?" Once he spoke, Li Daoji immediately looked at Yang Dingtian. If Yang Dingtian said yes, it would mean that he was loyal to the Mermaid Queen, which would undoubtedly be a huge blow to Fierce Knife Princess. However, if he said no, the consequences would be very frightening. Therefore, he chose to remain silent. The Mermaid Queen did not have much of a reaction to Yang Dingtian's silence. Instead, she smiled and said, "Fierce Knife Princess, aren't you the most disgusted by the demon eel people and think that they are livestock? Why would you fall for this male beside you? This is really strange." When the Mermaid Queen said this, it seemed as if she was talking to Fierce Knife Princess, but her eyes were fixed on Yang Dingan. Fierce Knife Princess was not a powerful woman. She was immediately made nervous by the Mermaid Queen and could not speak at all. At this moment, if Yang Dingtian was smarter, he would directly admit that he was not a demon eel person. Of course, if he was a little more stupid, he would also directly admit that he was not a demon eel person. Therefore, Yang Dingtian remained silent. "Of course, I don't care about the internal structure of a demon eel person's body at all, nor have I checked it." The Mermaid Queen smiled and said, "Of course, I can also see that you are deliberately revealing that you are not a demon eel person. You know that I don't care about your bloodline or identity. It would be better if you are not a demon eel person. After all, everyone hates livestock, right?" Yang Dingtian remained silent. At this moment, not speaking was the wisest choice. "Then, tell me, are you a spy placed here by the evil ways?" the Mermaid Queen asked. "No," Yang Dingtian said. "Very smart response," the Mermaid Queen said. The Mermaid Queen said, "If you remain silent to all the questions before, then your next answer will sound especially sincere." Yang Dingtian continued to remain silent. "Oh, you are silent to my questions. That means that you don't care about my doubts." The Mermaid Queen said, "That means that there is an even more shocking truth, enough to crush my doubts." Yang Dingtian continued to remain silent. The Mermaid Queen said, "Sir, do you have anything you want to say to me? For example, who are you? What is your purpose?" Yang Dingtian said, "Before I say anything, can I ask you a few questions?" "Of course, it is up to you whether you want to answer or not." "Wow." The Mermaid Queen laughed. "You are an extremely powerful opponent. Since you have already started the battle, let's begin. All right, you can only ask one question. 2, is that okay? Of course, in the end, it is still 1. Yang Dingtian said. The Mermaid Queen said. Yang Dingtian asked, "Wenyan, how long have you been in the Mermaid Empire? What token did he bring to prove that he is the envoy of Queen Medusa?" The Mermaid Queen's beautiful eyes trembled, and she instinctively touched her arm. Then she smiled and said, "He stayed for quite a long time. He brought Queen Medusa's absolute token. Of course, I can't tell you what it is." Instantly, Yang Dingtian sank into a bitter expression. The Mermaid Queen smiled and said, "Did you get the answer you wanted?" Yang Dingtian nodded and said, "I got it." "Oh, what answer?" the Mermaid Queen asked. Yang Dingtian said, "An answer that is not optimistic." "Oh, tell me." The Mermaid Queen said. Yang Dingtian said, "When I asked you these 2 questions, the first thing that appeared in your eyes was not respect and worship for Queen Medusa, but rather, you seemed to have sunk into a memory. Furthermore, he stayed for quite a long time. I know him very well, and he is a very charismatic man. And you're so lonely, so, to me, this is a rather bitter result." The Mermaid Queen said, "Are you saying that I fell in love with the Demon King Wenin?" "I don't know, maybe." Yang Dingtian said, "No wonder you made me wear a mask every time I electrocuted you. Is the person on the mask him?" The Mermaid Queen smiled and did not answer. Yang Dingtian said, "He electrocuted you often?" The Mermaid Queen shook her head and said, "No, in front of him, I am a reserved goddess." Then, the Mermaid Queen said, "Okay, can you answer my question now?" Yang Dingtian nodded and said, "Of course, the situation can't get any worse. You don't need to know who I am, but my goal is to conquer you." "Oh, so direct." The Mermaid Queen said, "But I like this kind of directness." "Then you represent the human countries, right?" Yang Dingtian continued to be silent. "Sometimes, you are so daring that it's laughable, but sometimes, you are so cautious that it's scary, little man." The Mermaid Queen said, "How strange, no one can enter the Mermaid Empire. Why can you enter?" "Fate's arrangement." Yang Dingtian said, "Fine, I regretted it the moment I said that. What a hateful tone." "I think so too." The Mermaid Queen said, "Since Wendian can enter, you can naturally enter as well." Then the Mermaid Queen said, "You are from the human countries, and I am allied with the evil ways. Doesn't that mean that a calamity is about to befall you, little man? Now, are you still thinking of conquering me? After all, my heart already belongs to someone." Yang Dingta nodded, "I am still preparing to conquer you. I won't give up." The Mermaid Queen covered her mouth and laughed. "Oh, why do you think I would fall in love with someone else? Are you more charming than Wenyan?" "No, of course not." Yang Dingtian continued, "In truth, I have 2 reasons why I can conquer you." The Mermaid Queen's beautiful eyes flashed with curiosity. "Tell me, what are the 2 reasons?" She even sat down and widened her beautiful eyes, acting like a little girl filled with curiosity. Chapter 9:16. The first reason is that since the Demon King Wendian could enter the Mermaid Empire, I can enter as well, Yang Dingtian said. The Mermaid Queen clapped her hands. What an impressive reason. Moreover, the first time born, the second time sleeping, right? Are you trying to tell me that every time a human enters, it's filled with a sense of destiny? Following which, the Mermaid Queen continued, "Now, I can't wait to hear the second reason. Don't disappoint me." Yang Dingtian said, "100 years have already passed. Memories and emotions are very different." The moment these words came out, the indifferent expression on the Mermaid Queen's face disappeared. Her beautiful eyes trembled slightly. Then she looked at Yang Dingtian. "Are you willing to tell me the second reason?" Yang Dingtian said, "He stayed in the Mermaid Empire for half a year. He must have brought you incomparably happy times. Because you were completely trapped by the dark matter and the apocalypse was gradually approaching, the entire Mermaid Empire must have been incomparably dispirited and had nothing to do. He came from another world and was completely different from the people you met. He could instantly attract you. After that, you spent every moment together. You read books together, played chess together, played cards together, and chatted together. The half a year there was the happiest half a year of your life." The Mermaid Queen's beautiful eyes fell into a perplexed state. She once again entered the incomparably happy memories. Yang Dingtian continued, "Although you were together all day long and even slept in the same room at night, you definitely didn't do anything intimate." But the Mermaid Queen smiled. Yang Dingtian said, "First, when he definitely left behind a huge suspense, causing you to be filled with yearning for a reunion. Once an intimate relationship occurred, the suspense would weaken and the yearning for a reunion would fade. He must have left when you were filled with the best feelings for him." The Mermaid Queen smiled and asked, "Why do you have such a detailed guess about our interactions? It's as if you have seen it before." Yang Dingtian sighed, "Because I had the exact same experience. Her status is almost exactly the same as yours, maybe even higher than yours. Of course, she is also lonelier than you. In particular, she was also imprisoned in a special environment for 10,000 years." The Mermaid Queen said, "This won't prove anything. People are different. Just because you didn't do it doesn't mean we didn't." Yang Dingtian continued, "Most importantly, it's impossible for him to have any intimate relationship with you, because he can't make you fall in love with him. You're not even a complete woman." Hearing this, the Mermaid Queen's beautiful face suddenly changed. She stared coldly at Li Daoji and said, "Did you tell him?" "No, I guessed it," Yang Dingtian said. The Mermaid Queen replied, "You guessed it? You better be able to convince me with your reason. Otherwise, Li Daoji will die." Yang Dingtian said, "You were raised as the next generation of Naga. You will live longer than the Mermaid clan, so you became the queen of the Mermaid Empire. Your mission is to borrow the seed of a human and give birth to the demigod Naga. But there are very few humans who can make a mermaid fall in love with you. And you seem to be imprisoned in your human form, unable to return to your mermaid form. So, your tool to give birth is always closed, which makes you suspect that you are not complete. And this kind of confinement makes the whole body's circulation abnormal, which makes a lot of things unable to be released. So, some kind of hormone or energy in your body is constantly accumulating. So, your temperament is becoming more and more twisted. You let me hit you with lightning to help you release some of the accumulated things in your body. But that can only solve the symptoms, not the root cause. The mermaid queen immediately stopped smiling and said slowly, "Don't you think you know too much?" Yang Dingtian said straightforwardly, "In this world, there are very few humans who can make you fall in love. Evil ways have tried all kinds of methods but to no avail. And I am the only human who can make you fall in love with me." As soon as he said this, the mermaid queen's body trembled, and her beautiful eyes lit up. She said, "Is this true?" "Of course." Yang Dingtian said, "In fact, I have already given birth to 2 demigod descendants." When he said this, Yang Dingtian's face was full of helplessness, but it was also full of love. Then Yang Dingtian said, "Of course, I hope that when they grow up, they will be ordinary people. But don't be too heaven-defying, and don't bring disaster to this world." The mermaid queen walked over slowly and approached Yang Dingtian. She then took a whiff of his scent. Sure enough, her heart was beating faster, and her whole body was restless. Her body temperature was rising. Then, the mermaid queen said, "So, you want to conquer me and make me your woman? Break the alliance with evil ways and stand on your side, right?" "Yes, it's best if you can change sides and give the Legion of Doom a fatal blow," Yang Dingtian said. "Wow, what a fierce little boy," the mermaid queen said. "Then what about my mermaid empire?" Yang Dingtian said, "I am the ruler of the human countries, and I have already unified the entire Vitality continent. I can give you a sea in the south, west, and east, more than 100,000 miles of sea." The mermaid queen said, "Do you know that our mermaid race is much stronger than humans, and our lifespan is also much longer? Aren't you afraid that we will completely destroy humans and take over the world?" Yang Dingtian said, "That is a matter for the future. At least when I am here, this kind of thing will not happen. Of course, in the end, I will think of a way to prevent the mermaid race from leaving the seabed. Once they leave the seabed, they will not be able to survive. This way, the 2 races will live in harmony." The mermaid queen said, "Also, you want me to marry you. Let the mermaid empire and the human empires be united through marriage, and you will also become the ruler of the mermaid empire, right?" Yang Dingtian said, "Yes, this is the best choice for us." The mermaid queen smiled, "But you also know that I love Wenin. You little boy, don't tell me you have a way to steal my heart from him?" "I do," Yang Dingtian said. The mermaid queen revealed a mocking smile. "Tell me about it?" "What method?" "In my eyes, your charm is far too inferior to his. You have to know that I am jealous of the dead concubine, which is why I have been mocking her time and time again. Because I am jealous. Then tell me, your charm is far inferior to his. What method do you have to make me fall in love with someone else?" Yang Dingtian said, "There is a saying that we can talk about it in the future." The mermaid queen laughed, then said, "That is indeed a good method. But if I don't let you, do you have a way to force me?" Yang Dingtian said, "You won't be able to find a second person. In this world, only I can make you fall in love and make you bear children." The mermaid queen burst into laughter again, but her expression soon turned desolate. "Little man, your suggestion is very tempting. But I promised him." "That's right, I promised him." The mermaid queen sighed, "I promised to give him a chance. If he can make me fall in love, I will become his woman. I promised him that I will wait for him to come back." Yang Dingtian said bitterly, Do you really love him that much?" The mermaid queen said, "It can't be considered an unforgettable love, but it can be considered that my heart belongs to someone else. I promised him. Of course, if your charm is strong enough to suffocate me and make me unable to control myself, then I will definitely fall in love with someone else. Unfortunately, your charm is not at that level, right? A man's charm is often tempered by pain." Yang Dingtian said, "So, I would rather not have this charm than to be tortured by pain." "Then there is no other way." The mermaid queen said, "Your body does have the power to make me fall in love. But your temperament and charm are not enough to make me fall in love with you." Yang Dingtian was silent for a moment, then said, "What if I am the son-in-law of your goddess Medusa? Her daughter is my wife. Compared to the demon king Wenin, My relationship with Medusa is closer. The Mermaid Queen was shocked. Impossible, impossible. Yang Dingtian said, that is the truth. You should know what the most important token to represent Queen Medusa is, right? Of course, you might not know. After all, this is something that happened more than 10,000 years ago. It is related to the top secret of the Naga Empire. The spatial ring. The Mermaid Queen said directly. Yang Dingan was stunned. You? How did you know? The Mermaid Queen said, because the token Wentian brought is the spatial ring. Yang Dingtian was completely stunned. How is this possible? How could the spatial ring be with Wentian? The Mermaid Queen said, of course, from the start to the end, Wentian could only use it as a token. He kept it in an energy jade box and couldn't touch it, couldn't use it, and had to return it. Yang Dingan said, is the spatial ring the only token of Goddess Medusa? The Mermaid Queen said, if not, I wouldn't believe that he is the emissary of Goddess Medusa. Yang Dingtian took in a deep breath and injected his energy into the spatial ring. Instantly, the spatial ring appeared on his finger. Let me borrow it, Yang Dingtian said. Subsequently, he removed a golden hairpin from her hair and threw it into his spatial ring. Instantly, the golden hairpin disappeared into the spatial ring. The Mermaid Queen was completely stunned. She gave the spatial ring to you? Yes, I've had it for a few years. Yang Dingan said, furthermore, I can give it to you. After speaking, Yang Dingan knelt down on one knee and raised the spatial ring he created himself. Your Majesty, may I ask if you will marry me? In an instant, the Mermaid Queen's body trembled violently and her temperature rose rapidly. Chapter 9:17. But soon, the blush gradually disappeared from the Mermaid Queen's face. The Mermaid Queen said, how was it? I acted well, didn't I? The feeling of being shy and moved when someone proposed to me was very accurate. Yang Dingtian felt a chill in his heart. The Mermaid Queen smiled, but her eyes were cold. Little man, you're lying. You're lying about Medusa. Yang Dingtian frowned. The Mermaid Queen said, although I have never really met Medusa, I am completely aware of her position. As a traitor of the Naga Empire and the savior of the Mermaid Empire, she must be on the opposite side of you. Your name is Yang Dingtan, right? Hearing the Mermaid Queen call out his name, Yang Dingnan was not too surprised. The Mermaid Queen said, of course, I just remembered your name. The Queen Devil Queen once mentioned you to me. She said that you are the true heir of the Nihility clan and the true successor of Nihility Piaoyan, right? Yang Dingtian nodded. He did tell Nihility Piao Ling about this matter, including his pig-killing swordsmanship. The Mermaid Queen continued. At that time, the Mermaid Empire was instigated by Nihility Piaoyan, so they made an extremely crazy move. They destroyed the Sea Serpent Empire and the Mermaid Empire, and sacrificed all the Naga people in exchange for the continuation of New Naga and the entire Chaos world. Medusa was pregnant at that time. According to Nihility Piaoyan's plan of sacrificing all the Naga Empire in exchange for rebirth, the child in her belly would have been destroyed before it could see the world. Therefore, she chose to defect and steal the interspatial ring. Yang Dingtian trembled. At this time, he completely understood why Medusa chose to defect. Because she was already pregnant. But was the child in her belly Shimin Ningning's? It didn't seem like it, because Sister Ningning didn't look that old. Although she was very gentle and mature. However, her heart was already very young. She didn't look like the Queen Lan Qi in New Naga at all. Because of her years of loneliness, her mentality was very calm. The Mermaid Queen said, therefore, the positions of Queen Medusa and Shuwu Piaoyan are completely opposite, or even hostile. Therefore, her position is naturally at odds with yours, right? Yang Dingtian didn't say anything. The Mermaid Queen was right. Yang Dingtian could not help but ask. At that time, Shuwu Piaoyan stayed in the Mermaid Empire for more than 10 years. Less than 3 years after Shuwu Piaoyan's arrival, the Naga Empire imposed a ban on childbirth. Why was Queen Medusa pregnant on the eve of the Naga's sacrifice? This doesn't make sense? The Mermaid Queen said, this was an accidental pregnancy. No one knows who the child's father is, except for Goddess Medusa herself. Then, the Mermaid Queen smiled and said, "However, this has nothing to do with the matter between us. Since Queen Medusa's position is at odds with yours, and she chose to support the Demon King Wenian, then don't you think I should stand on Goddess Medusa's side? She is our savior." Yang Dingtian didn't know how to answer. The Mermaid Queen continued, "Moreover, believe me, your human country has no chance of winning. You haven't seen how powerful the Empire of Darkness's Legion of Doom is. You have no chance of winning. Moreover, the Empire of Darkness has completely blocked the Mermaid Empire's exit from the dark matter dimension. Not to mention, Wenian has already controlled several planes. He is destined to be the winner. Do you think I can stand on your side?" Then, the light in the Mermaid Queen's hand condensed into a scale. She placed a weight on the left and said, "This is my love for Wenian. It can be considered as a weight." Then, she placed a second weight on the scale and said, "This is the will of Goddess Medusa. I can't go against it." She placed a third weight on the scale and said, "You and your human country are too weak. Wenian has controlled several planes. I want to stand on the side of the victor." Finally, she picked up another weight and said, "You said before that I'm a twisted and perverted life form. You're right. I'm filled with the urge to destroy the human country. Hence, this is the fourth weight." The left side of the scale represented opposing Yang Dingtian. There were a total of 4 weights. The Mermaid Queen picked up a weight and placed it on the right side of the scale. "You are able to make me go into estrus and give birth to my offspring. This can be considered as a weight." 1 against 4, the scale was completely tilted. The Mermaid Queen smiled. "So, even a fool would know how to choose, right?" Yang Dingan said, "You are not a fool, but you are a madwoman, right?" The Mermaid Queen smiled. "Correct, I'm a madwoman. Hence, I'm willing to give you a chance. Let me become your woman." Evil ways. Yang Dingtian didn't feel any joy. Instead, he was filled with wariness. "Please speak." The Mermaid Queen pulled out a sharp sword and placed it in Yang Dingtian's hand. "My dear, I'm a very possessive woman. I can't bear to see others being lovey-dovey. Hence, if you kill Princess Li Dao, I'll give you a chance to conquer me. How about it?" Yang Dingtian's facial muscles twitched violently. As expected, things weren't so simple. After tens of thousands of years of distortion, the Mermaid Queen had already become a madwoman. She had even begun to enjoy this kind of distortion and madness. She no longer had the same desire and sense of mission as before. The Mermaid Queen hooked her arms around Yang Dingtian's neck and breathed her fragrant breath into Yang Dingtian's nose. "My dear, you can only choose one woman. If you want me, she'll die. If you want her, you won't have me." Instantly, Princess Li of the Dagger's face turned pale and her entire body trembled. She was in pain from the Mermaid Queen's viciousness and heartlessness. At the same time, she was terrified of Yang Dingtian's choice. The Mermaid Queen was the object of her lifelong loyalty. She had never thought of betraying her. However, the Mermaid Queen had abandoned her like a pair of worn-out shoes. Furthermore, she was going to sacrifice her in such a ridiculous and meaningless way. "Choose." The Mermaid Queen said softly. "My dear, kill her and I'll be yours." "No, I'll do it myself." Princess Li Dao finally broke down. She cried out loud and wanted to snatch the sword and commit suicide in front of the two of them. Slap. Yang Dingtian's reply was a slap in the face. Of course, it wasn't a slap on Princess Li Dao's face. It was a slap on the Mermaid Queen's face. "Bitch, crazy woman," Yang Dingtian said coldly. "Oh." After the Mermaid Queen was slapped, she cried out exaggeratedly and said, "Your slap made me feel so good. Do it again." Slap. Yang Dingtian gave him another slap abruptly. The Mermaid Queen's mouth was bleeding. She licked her lips and said, "That's right. Coldness is more likable." Then, the Mermaid Queen walked over and used her saint-level cultivation to lock Yang Dingtian's Shin meridians and sealed all of his cultivation. Furthermore, layers upon layers of energy fields completely imprisoned him. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian couldn't even move a finger. Finally, The mermaid queen carried one in each hand and threw Yang Dingtian and Li Daoji into his room. Then, she took out a dagger and placed it in Li Daoji's hand. She spoke in a tender voice. Li Daoji, do you love this human enough? Then you better commit suicide. You better die in front of him. Otherwise, I will hand him over to the evil Dao. By then your lover, Yang Dingtian, would probably beg for death, but he wouldn't be able to. If you are willing to commit suicide, I won't do that. I might even consider being conquered by him. In order to save him, you better commit suicide. After saying that, the mermaid queen walked out and closed the door. Her back view was incomparably beautiful and seductive. She was even more beautiful than Queen Hai Xian and Queen Poisa. However, in Yang Dingtian's heart, she was more poisonous than the most poisonous snake. She shouldn't be the mermaid queen. She should be the viper queen. In the room, only Yang Dingtian and Princess Li Dao were left. Yang Dingtian couldn't move at all. He shouted in his heart, "Dark green dragon, quickly break through my celestial chi shackles. Quickly." However, the dark green dragon was indifferent. It was a very selfish creature. Unless Yang Dingtian was about to die, it wouldn't make a move. At this moment, Princess Li Dao slowly picked up the dagger. Her beautiful eyes no longer concealed her feelings for Yang Dingtian. She didn't say anything. She only stared at Yang Dingtian. Then she placed the dagger on her neck and prepared to commit suicide. Although she knew that the mermaid queen was crazy and her words didn't count. However, she was still willing to give it a try. She was willing to use her life in exchange for Yang Dingtian's safety. I won't regret it. Princess Li Dao's tears kept falling. At this moment, Queen Devil Queen flapped her wings and slowly landed in the capital of the Mermaid Empire. The Mermaid Queen looked at her with eyes full of sarcasm and hostility. Your Majesty Devil Queen, let me tell you a piece of good news. The Yang Dingtian you've been searching for has fallen into my hands. The beautiful eyes of the Demon Queen, dead princess, trembled as she said, Really? Of course. The Mermaid Queen said, And I can even hand him over to you. You can bring him to the Temple of Annihilation. You can kill him or cut him up as you wish. Devil Queen said, Your Majesty. The Mermaid Queen said, But he's the only human who can give birth to my offspring. I really can't bear to part with him. So, I want to make a deal. How about it? Queen Devil Queen's expression changed slightly. Please speak. The Mermaid Queen said, I want to monopolize the Demon King when in. So, you're too much of a hindrance. How about this? You let Yang Dingtian take care of you. Without your innocence, you won't be able to snatch Wen Ian from him. How about it? When she said this, the Devil Queen's expression changed greatly. The Mermaid Queen laughed. Yang Dingtian will either take care of you or me. Once he takes care of me, I'll become his woman. I'll change sides. That's right, this was a completely crazy woman. Chapter 9:18. The Queen Devil Queen did not expect to face such a problem the moment she arrived at the Mermaid Empire. However, she was the Queen Devil Queen and not the Nihility Piao Ling. Half of her body was the primordial evil spirit. The Devil Queen stared at the Mermaid Queen coldly and said, Are you sure you want to do this? The Mermaid Queen nodded and said, Yes, I want to do this. The Queen Devil Queen sneered and said, Then as you wish. In the room, the fierce blade concubine was reluctant, but she was determined to use the dagger to slit her own neck. She was about to die. As for Yang Dingtian, he couldn't even move a single finger on his body. He could see everything, but he could not stop it. He was really anxious. He wanted to use the dark mystic flame to dissolve the seal on his energy sea. However, because the Mermaid Queen's energy sealed his energy sea, he could not summon the dark mystic flame even if he wanted to. Dragon, hurry up and break free from my shackles. Hurry up, hurry up, Yang Dingtian roared in his heart. However, the dark green dragon did not react at all. He wanted to stop it, but he could not say a word. He could see and hear everything, but he could not move an inch. Therefore, he could only watch as Li Dao concubine committed suicide, watching as she died. If he let her die, Yang Dingtian would not be able to forgive himself, and he would become the Mermaid Queen's enemy. The fierce blade concubine's movements were slow, but she was determined. She looked at Yang Dingtian with her beautiful eyes and muttered, "I will not regret it. I will not regret it. Even if the queen is lying, I will not regret sacrificing myself for you." Her movements were not fast, but she was determined. Suddenly, a stream of blood flowed down her snow-white neck. Yang Dingtian's eyes were about to burst. But then, he suddenly remembered that he already had a sword soul. The sword soul didn't need profound chi at all. It could be activated and controlled by one's will and consciousness. I'm such an idiot. I was so nervous that I forgot that I still have a sword spirit. Immediately, Yang Dingtian used his consciousness to control the soul sword in his spatial ring. He was very worried. The soul sword that was close to the emperor grade was in another space. Could it still be controlled by his divine sense? Obviously, he had worried too much. Yang Dingtian was able to easily sense the sword soul, Acho. Subsequently, he was able to easily control its divine senses. Whoosh! Immediately, the soul sword flew out of the space ring. Dang! In an instant, the dagger in Fierce Blade Concubine's hand was sent flying. Fierce Blade Concubine's strength was very weak at this time, and the dagger in her hand was easily knocked away. Then she was stunned. A sword had actually appeared out of thin air and stopped her from committing suicide? Was this a sword soul? Regarding the sword soul, she had only heard of it. The Mermaid Empire basically didn't have such a thing. Only after allying with the evil ways did she understand the concept of the sword soul. She heard that it was the highest realm of human martial arts. How old was Yang Dingtian? He actually had a sword soul? Then, Yang Dingtian used his consciousness to control the soul sword, dipped it in water and wrote on the ground, "The Mermaid Queen is a lunatic. She is a liar. Even if you commit suicide, she will not let me go." Seeing the sword writing on the ground, Fierce Blade Concubine was even more stunned. Then she nodded and said, "I know. But even if there is a possibility, I am still willing to do this." The soul sword continued to write, "In fact, towards this lunatic, it is not that we have no chance of redeeming her. But if you die, then all our paths of retreat will be blocked, and she and I will become mortal enemies. The only thing I can do to her is to kill her." Fierce Blade Concubine trembled and said, "Because of me?" "Yes, because of you." Yang Dingtian used the soul sword to write, "And even if I kill the Mermaid Queen in the future, I will never be able to forgive myself for your death. It will cause irreparable damage to my heart." Fierce Blade Concubine's face suddenly flushed red and said, "You are lying. Your feelings for me are not that deep." Yang Dingtian used his consciousness to control the soul sword and continued to write, "This has nothing to do with love. The key is that we have already done that. You can be considered my family. Also, the fact that you're sacrificing yourself for me will destroy my heart." Fierce Blade Concubine's smile was slightly sweet, but also slightly bitter. Yang Dingtian's words were very straightforward. He didn't dare to have extravagant hopes to talk about love because they had already had the most intimate relationship. Furthermore, the Li Dao concubine had already fallen into his hands. Hence, she was his person, his family. Yang Dingtian using the word family made her feel happy, but also a little bitter. "I understand." Fierce Blade Concubine nodded and said, "If I commit suicide, it will prove that you are incompetent, right?" Yang Dingtian was speechless. Although that was what she meant, she said it too directly. Fierce Blade Concubine asked again, "Next, what should we do?" Yang Dingtian controlled the soul sword and wrote, "I don't know. Your Majesty's mind is like a heavenly steed flying across the sky. I can't understand it at all." Yes, no matter how smart a person was, others would be able to guess what he or she was thinking. But a lunatic, no one knew what she was thinking. Although this was a beautiful woman who could cause the downfall of a city, she was still a lunatic. In the face of such a lunatic, any plan would be useless. There was only one word to use: improvise. "Okay, my soul sword cannot be discovered by anyone. You have to keep it a secret." Yang Dingtian controlled the soul sword to write on the table. "Yes, I know." Fierce Blade Concubine nodded. Swoosh! The near-emperor grade soul sword flew directly into Yang Dingtian's spatial ring and disappeared without a trace. Then, after a slight hesitation, Fierce Blade Concubine tried her best to crawl to Yang Dingtian's side and gently lay her delicate body on his lap. Originally, it was absolutely impossible for her to take the initiative to do such an intimate thing. But now that her life and death were uncertain and she could be killed by this lunatic queen at any time, she couldn't care so much. Being able to be happy for a quarter of an hour was also a kind of happiness. Then, the two of them snuggled like this. Fierce Blade Concubine's heart was in a mess and she couldn't calm down at all. One moment sweet, the next bitter, the next worried, the next indifferent. And in Yang Dingtian's mind, countless plans appeared. In the end, he found that none of them worked. At least now, he couldn't even break through the Mermaid Queen's shackles. Instead of planning this and that, it was better to think about how this lunatic queen would deal with him. He didn't know how this lunatic queen's brain worked. What she wanted to do, Yang Dingtian really couldn't think of it. But one thing was for sure. Her heart was twisted and she instinctively wanted to destroy everything. Beauty, innocence, pride, intelligence, and everything else, she wanted to destroy them all. Moreover, he didn't know how long she would lock him up for. Yang Dingtian originally thought that the Mermaid Queen would lock him up for at least 3 to 5 days. He didn't expect that in less than half a day, the door would open and the Mermaid Queen would walk in. Seeing that Fierce Blade Concubine wasn't dead and was instead lying on Yang Dingtian's lap, her beautiful face suddenly revealed a sarcastic smile and said, "Yang Dingen, it seems that my leader of the internal guards doesn't love you that much. She can't even die for you." Yang Dingtian didn't have any reaction to her words. But he was incomparably nervous. This lunatic queen had returned so quickly. What was she planning to do? Yang Dingtian's mind quickly thought of countless possibilities. How was this queen going to torment him? The Mermaid Queen stepped forward and easily released all the shackles on Yang Dingtian's Shin Meridians and Energy Sea. Then, she carried him with one hand and Fierce Blade Concubine with the other and walked out. Soon, she once again carried Yang Dingtian and Fierce Blade Concubine to her bedroom. Then, she directly threw Fierce Blade Concubine on the ground. "Yang Dingen, I'm going to introduce you to a guest later. Guess who it is?" The Mermaid Queen said. Yang Dingtian's heart trembled and said, "Queen, Devil Queen? You're such a disappointment." The Mermaid Queen clapped her hands and said, "Your Majesty Devil Queen, come out. The mystery is gone." Then, the Queen Devil Queen slowly walked out. Suddenly, the entire bedroom seemed to light up. Her beauty, as well as her mysterious and seductive temperament, seemed to ignite the entire atmosphere. When standing together, there was finally a woman who could match the Mermaid Queen's beauty and aura. "We meet again, Yang Dingtian." The Queen Devil Queen slowly said, "I trust you've been well since we last met." "There's a small problem," Yang Dingtian said. The Mermaid Queen said sweetly, "Yang Dingen, you're going to face another test. The first test is very simple. Between me and the Queen Devil Queen, who do you think is more beautiful?" Yang Dingtian directly said, "You're more beautiful." The Mermaid Queen was slightly surprised. She was a little surprised by Yang Dingtian's answer. Then she laughed and said, "Oh, why is that?" "Because I want you." Yang Dingtian said, "Wow, you still haven't given up." The Mermaid Queen laughed. Then, the Mermaid Queen laughed and said, "The Queen Devil Queen asked me to give you to her. She's determined to have you." Then I said that as long as she's willing to pay the price of her innocence and be possessed by you, I'll agree. Instantly, Yang Dingtian felt his scalp turning numb. This crazy woman. Next, the Mermaid Queen said, "Yang Ding, I think the Queen Devil Queen is very uncomfortable. I'm very jealous of Wentian's love for her. So, I want to ruin her chastity. Will you help me?" The Mermaid Queen's beautiful eyes widened as she stared at Yang Dingen. "If you help me destroy her innocence, I'll be very grateful to you. Who knows, maybe I won't hand you over to her." Her words were obviously self-contradictory. Facing such a person, not only did Yang Dingtian have a headache, even the Queen Devil Queen felt a headache coming on. "Of course, I know my words are self-contradictory. I'll definitely go back on my words," the Mermaid Queen continued, "but I can assure you that I'm not lying in my heart. So, it's up to you to decide what to do. The Mermaid Queen looked at the Queen Devil Queen and said, Devil Queen, maybe after you and Yang Dinghan do it, I'll immediately return and not hand him over to you. I'll stay behind and give birth to my own descendants. After that, she looked at Yang Dingtian. Yang Ding, even if you help me destroy the Devil Queen's innocence, I might immediately go back on my words and hand you over to the evil ways. So, what should you do? You can choose for yourself. In any case, I have an answer in my heart. As long as you can achieve the answer in my heart, I'll satisfy you. This crazy woman. When the Queen Devil Queen was around, her madness and warped personality would only become more and more intense. She completely didn't conceal her enmity towards the Queen Devil Queen. Okay, I understand. The Queen Devil Queen said. She directly pulled off her robe and looked at Yang Dinghan. You can do it. I'm ready. After that, she looked at the Mermaid Queen and said, I hope my actions will satisfy you and fulfill our agreement. Don't worry, I definitely won't snatch Wentian from you. You will monopolize him. Wentian has misophobia when it comes to relationships. He definitely won't be able to accept a Piao Ling who is no longer perfect. The Mermaid Queen laughed. Yang Dingtun, what are you standing there for? Hurry up and go. Chapter 9:19. How could he search an area of 5,000 square kilometers in less than an hour? Without mystic qi and countless resentful spirits, it was impossible for Yang Dingtian to achieve it. As for where was the forbidden area of evil ways, Yang Dingtian could enter, the Mermaid Clan could enter, but the Queen Devil Queen could not enter? That place was definitely not a forbidden area for humans. The biggest difference between Yang Dingtian and the Devil Queen was that the Devil Queen had evil energy in her body, but Yang Dingtian did not. Therefore, this forbidden area must be an energy field that repelled evil energy. At this time, was there anything that could repel evil energy? Yang Dingtian really did not know. If there was, he would be very, very curious. This would be very meaningful for him to defeat evil energy. The architecture of the Mermaid Empire's King City could be considered quite random. In other words, it was very messy and disorderly. It was densely packed with all kinds of houses. There were stone, coral, and many underground caves. There were countless of them. In short, if one could not fly in the entire huge city forest, it really felt like walking through a maze. Under such circumstances, whether one could find the evil spirit forbidden area or not, one could only rely on luck. As for Yang Dingtian, he only had less than an hour. First of all, he was almost certain that this forbidden area should not be in the downtown area, not in the middle of the dense houses. It should be in a more special environment. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian ruled out the east and west on the map. Because of those two places, one was a residential area, and the other was a downtown area. The remaining places were the north and south of the palace. The south side was mainly filled with densely packed barracks, including Yang Dingtian's Lightning Corps, which was located in the southern barracks. And the north. All of them were mausoleums. That's right, all tombs. The entire few hundred square kilometers were all tombs. Of course, not all the dead Mermaid Clan members could be buried here. But after the King's City moved here, all the dead Mermaid Clan members were buried here. Even so, there were still millions of Mermaid Clan members buried here. Yang Dingtian instinctively felt that the so-called evil spirit forbidden area was here. And on the map, Yang Dingtian could clearly see that in the middle of countless tombs, there was an incomparably huge hall. On the map was written, Queen's Palace. So, if there was a so-called evil energy forbidden area in the Mermaid Empire City, it would be here. And this place was about 138 miles away from Yang Dingtian's location. After ascertaining his target, Yang Dingtian flew over. At this time, Yang Dingtian did not have any Xian Qi, so he could only rely on his own physical strength. Without mystic Qi, Yang Dingtian's body would at most be a few times stronger than a healthy human on Earth. He gritted his teeth and desperately run, more than 90 miles, which was almost equivalent to a marathon on Earth. And the best marathon on Earth was about 2 hours, and Yang Dingtian was less than an hour. Yang Dingtian without any Xian Qi, his running speed was only a few times smaller than a long-distance runner. He desperately run. After about half an hour, he finally arrived at this incomparably huge group of tombs. This place was densely packed with mermaid clan members' tombs. These tombs were very strange. There were no raised graves, no tombstones, only a statue. They were all gray stone statues, and it was impossible to see the deceased's identity and glory. And the statues were exactly what the mermaid clan members looked like when they were alive. Therefore, when he entered, he saw millions of mermaids standing there motionlessly. Moreover, they were very lifelike. In an instant, the surrounding atmosphere suddenly became incomparably gloomy. Yang Dingtian did not stay for long, and immediately ran even faster towards the central hall of the cemetery. At this time, he had already run more than 100 miles. Even if his physique was much stronger than that of Earth's humans, he still felt that his whole body was about to explode. Because he could not use any Xian Qi, his running speed now was even slower than when he had just left the world of ice and snow. Finally, after running desperately for more than 10 minutes, Yang Dingtian arrived at his destination. In front of him was an incomparably huge mausoleum hall. That's right, it was the hall on the map, the destination that Yang Dingtian had confirmed. At this time, there was less than 15 minutes left before the end of the agreed 1 hour. Yang Dingtian quickly rushed into the hall. Then he saw an incomparably huge statue. This was an incomparably huge jade statue, at least 100 meters tall. The owner of this jade statue was a Naga. She was extremely beautiful, but also extremely terrifying. Her gaze seemed to shoot out a light that made people tremble. Her long hair was made of countless small snakes, and each small snake was ferocious and terrifying. Could this be Queen Medusa? What did the mermaid clan mean by placing her statue in the center of the mausoleum? She was not dead. Did it mean that even if the mermaid clan died, they would still be loyal and serve Queen Medusa for generations? Or was it to express another meaning? Queen Medusa betrayed the will of the Naga Empire because she let the mermaid clan go. Now, after the mermaid clan died, they took the initiative to turn themselves into stone statues. Then, by placing the statue of Queen Medusa in the center, it meant that Queen Medusa had obeyed the will of the Naga Empire and turned the mermaid empire into stone. So, could the heavens please not punish Queen Medusa? And Yang Dingtian noticed that all the other statues of the mermaid clan were all made of stone. Only the huge statue of Queen Medusa was made of white jade. Therefore, her entire huge statue was sparkling and translucent, overflowing with light and color. Of course, all of this was not important. The important thing was, the statue of Queen Medusa, in the center of the Mermaid Empire's mausoleum, was it the forbidden area of evil spirits? It sounded very similar. The sacred place of Goddess Medusa, where the souls of the mermaid clan lived. If there was such a forbidden area of evil spirits in the Mermaid Empire, then this place was very similar. And it felt like the only place that could possibly be a forbidden area. But, at this moment, this place was completely empty. The Mermaid Queen was not here. She said that she would wait for Yang Dingtian at the destination to sleep with her. In other words, only the place where she was a forbidden area of evil ways. But the Mermaid Queen was not here. The entire hall was completely empty. There were no secret rooms, only a huge statue of Medusa. And the statue was made of white jade, almost transparent inside. There were no compartments inside? Then, could it be that the forbidden area was not here? Or was the Mermaid Queen lying? Yang Dingtian instinctively felt that although the Mermaid Queen was incomparably crazy, but in this game she would not lie. She was here to find excitement, so she would not lie. In this case, it could only prove that Yang Dingtian had found the wrong place. This was not the forbidden area. So, Yang Dingtian quickly took out the map. If this was not the forbidden area, then where was the forbidden area? There was not much time left. There was only about 10 minutes before the game ended. Where was the forbidden area? Where was it? Yang Dingtian desperately searched the huge map, but he could not find a second place that was similar to the forbidden area. The hall under his feet seemed to be the only place that could be a forbidden area. At this moment, time was extremely tight. Yang Dingtian suddenly felt extremely nervous. He sat down, closed his eyes, and began to think quickly. The forbidden area of evil ways, the forbidden area of the Queen Devil Queen, the forbidden area of evil spirits. First of all, was there a real forbidden area of evil spirits in this world? Even if there was, could the Mermaid Empire have this energy field? Suddenly, a thought flashed through Yang Dingtian's mind. The Mermaid Queen did it on purpose. The game she gave would definitely be very mischievous, very perverted, and very unexpected. Yes, it would definitely be very unexpected. She was a lunatic. If the destination was the hall in the middle of the tomb, then to her, it would be too boring. Then this forbidden area would definitely be a place that was absolutely unexpected, but also absolutely reasonable. Where would this forbidden area be? Suddenly, another thought flashed through Yang Dingtian's mind. He recalled the place where he spent time with Queen Lan Qi in New Naga. There were a total of 2 places. One was the library, and the other was Yang Dingtian's room. At the beginning, Yang Dingtian and she were reading books in the library. But later on, most of the time, they were in his room. The two of them ate, drank, and chatted in there. Then, where would the only forbidden area of the Queen Devil Queen be? Was it the place where the Mermaid Queen and Wendian spent time together? And it was definitely not some forbidden area of evil spirits. Yang Dingtian's guess was wrong from the start. The Mermaid Queen had said that Wendian spent half a year with her. They lived a very happy life, playing chess, cards, and so on every day. Hence, the place where the Mermaid Queen and Wendian spent time together would definitely be a forbidden area for the Devil Queen. The Mermaid Queen and the Devil Queen definitely had an agreement. This place belonged to the Mermaid Queen and Wendian. The Devil Queen felt that she could not take even half a step in here. Yes, that must be the case. Then, where was the place where the Mermaid Queen and Wendian spent time together? Was it the library? Or a room? Or perhaps it was some pavilion? A tall tower? Yang Dingtian's mind was filled with thoughts. Firstly, the Mermaid Empire had a library and a martial arts hall. However, there were many mermaids there and it was not a very private place. Furthermore, there were many libraries in the Mermaid Empire. Unfortunately, the royal palace's library was not very big because the Mermaid Queen did not like to read. A pavilion? A tall tower? Where exactly was the place where the Mermaid Queen and Wendian had a private meeting? Firstly, Wendian was a human. His private meeting might be more secretive. Just like at the start, when Yang Dingtian was summoned into the royal palace, he could only interact with the fierce Blade Princess. Hence, it was very likely that the meeting place was Wendian's room. Then, where was Wendian's room? The royal palace of the Mermaid Empire was extremely huge. It would not be easy to find Wendian's room. But very quickly, a detail flashed past Yang Dingtian's mind. On the ground, there seemed to be some kind of imprint. Yang Dingtian tried his best to recall. That's right, there was a chessboard on the ground. It was a chessboard that was drawn by a sword. Later on it was erased. However, there were still very, very faint traces left on the ground. A chessboard, and it was a Go chessboard. In this world, who knew how to play Go? Other than Yang Dingtian, it was Wendian. That's right, that must be the place where Wendian and the Mermaid Queen played Go. Right. Also, when the Mermaid Queen asked Yang Dingtian to electrocute her, she asked him to wear Wendian's mask. In that case, it was very normal for her to arrange for Yang Dingtian to stay in the same room that Wendian stayed in over 100 years ago. Yang Dingtian recalled that the Forbidden Zone was actually within the royal palace. It was the room that Yang Dingtian stayed in. That's right, this answer was very logical and bizarre. This was completely in line with the crazy personality of the Mermaid Queen. This answer was shocking enough. She wanted to torment Yang Dingtian and torture Yang Dingtian. She wanted him to misunderstand that the Forbidden Zone was a type of energy forbidden zone. Moreover, she was willing to give him a map. Her goal was to make him act foolishly and run to the royal palace. In reality, he didn't even need to leave the royal palace. He only needed to return to his room. In that case, when Yang Dingtian lost and received the real answer, he would definitely hate himself for his foolishness and regret it. And at that time, the Mermaid Queen would be the most excited. Right now, Yang Dingtian had found the forbidden zone. It was in his room in the royal palace. The Mermaid Queen was currently lying naked on the bed, waiting for him. However, that room was a total of 138 li away from here. Yang Dingtian was already extremely tired and didn't have any xianqi left. The most important thing was that there were less than 10 minutes left. Even if he died, he wouldn't be able to reach that place. Without xianqi, he couldn't fly and couldn't teleport. Even if he died, he wouldn't be able to rush back. In that case, was there nothing he could do? Of course not. He didn't have xianqi, but he had the soul sword. He couldn't fly, but the soul sword could. So, instantly, Yang Dingtian used his consciousness to control the soul sword, and it flew out from his interspatial ring. Yang Dingtian grabbed the soul sword and hid it in his clothes, not letting anyone see it. Then, he used his consciousness to control the soul sword and it flew at lightning speed. From the outside, it looked like Yang Dingtian was the one flying and not the soul sword. Previously, he didn't want to reveal the soul sword, but now he had no choice. Winning the game and winning the Mermaid Queen was more important than hiding the soul sword secret. So, the soul sword carried Yang Dingtian and flew at a fast speed. In an hour, it easily traveled more than 1,000 li. So, in just 5 minutes, Yang Dingtian flew back to the royal palace. Then, he quickly kept the soul sword in his interspatial ring and returned to his room. He gently pushed the door open. Ah! Inside, there was a cry of surprise. The Mermaid Queen, whose body was as delicate as snow, was lying on the stone bed and shouting at Yang Dingtian in surprise. Yang Dingtian 1. Chapter 920. Yang Dingtian slowly walked into his room. Looking at the beautiful Mermaid Queen on the stone bed, a victorious smile appeared on his face. "I've won, Your Majesty. I clearly saw you running towards the north of the palace. You should be in the main hall of the tomb." The Mermaid Queen said. "That's right, I should be in the main hall of the tomb." Yang Dingtian continued, "However, I'm here now." The Mermaid Queen didn't conceal the shock in her eyes. She sat up on the stone bed and said, "Time is of the essence. It's impossible for you to arrive in such a short period of time." "That's right, but I'm here." Yang Dingtian walked as he spoke. "If you agree to a bet, you must accept your loss. Will you go back on your words? Your Majesty, you have to fulfill your end of the bet and become my woman." Yang Dingtian indeed only thought of the right direction at the very last moment. The Mermaid Queen couldn't help but clamp her legs together as she instinctively shrunk her body. She was lying. At this moment, she still had clothes on her body. It was a blue nightgown that was as smooth as water, and it lazily clung to her mountain-like body. "You broke through my xianqi restriction?" the Mermaid Queen asked. "Of course not." Yang Dingtian continued, "You can come over and check. My xianqi and qi are still firmly locked by you." "How did you know about this place?" the Mermaid Queen asked. "Yes." Yang Dingtian continued, "You crazy woman, you must have set your sights on an extremely special and unexpected place. Then, there's no place more unexpected than my room. Coincidentally, 200 years ago, when the Demon King Wenyan entered the Mermaid Empire, he just so happened to stay here. Hence, this place became the forbidden zone of the Queen Devil Queen. She can't invade your private space." "You are indeed very intelligent." The Mermaid Queen continued, "However, people who are too intelligent will die early." "It doesn't matter." Yang Dingtian directly climbed onto the stone bed and directly pressed on towards the Mermaid Queen. For the first time, the Mermaid Queen's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of weakness. She panted, "You really want me?" "Of course," Yang Dingtian said. "Then let me tell you, once you have me, there is a 90% chance that I will kill you," the Mermaid Queen said. "Yang Dingtian, let's get it first." "I'm serious. When it's over, I'll kill you," the Mermaid Queen said. "Yang Dingtian, you have two choices. One is to kill me now, and the other is to fulfill the bet and let me have you." Finishing his statement, Yang Dingnan held onto the mermaid queen's beautiful face, opened his mouth, and fiercely kissed her fiery lips. Almost instantaneously, the mermaid queen had accumulated countless flames, and they burned fiercely in an instant. This kind of flame seemed to have ignited from the depths of hell. Once ignited, it was impossible to extinguish it. Her magical celestial body instantly became as hot as fire. Then, the mermaid queen felt an unbearable pain. A characteristic that she had never had before finally appeared. She had finally become a complete female. After an unknown period of time, the complete madness finally stopped. The two of them were sprawled on the ground, not moving at all. Yang Dingnan opened his eyes first, and then the mermaid queen opened her eyes. "You have me. I've never felt such a feeling before. In just one day, it's better than 10,000 years. The mermaid queen said, "If I knew this feeling would be so good, I wouldn't have tortured you for so long. I would have gone completely crazy with you. It's not too late now, right?" Yang Dingtian kissed her lips. "Are you and your other women also so crazy? Like wild beasts?" The mermaid queen asked. "No, just with you," Yang Dingtian said. "But because you hate me so much?" The mermaid queen asked with a smile. "Yes, I hate you so much," Yang Dingtian said. The mermaid queen smiled charmingly. "Then should I make you hate me to the end?" Yang Dingtian raised his hand. "Please don't." The mermaid queen continued, "In that case, do you think I like you more or Wenyin more?" Yang Dingtian shook his head. "Both shouldn't be much, right? Your longing for Wenyin is merely longing for those happy days. And for you, of course, it's just the joy of the past day. Should I say that you have low self-esteem, or that you know your own limits?" The mermaid queen asked. "Both of these statements are not good, but both are true," Yang Dingtian replied. "Before this, have you ever had a woman stronger than you?" The mermaid queen asked. Yang Dingtian replied, "When I slept with them, the majority of them were stronger than me. Naturally, I'm the strongest now. You are an exception." The mermaid queen's beautiful neck tilted backwards as her jade-like hands unconsciously caressed Yang Dingtian's face. After that, she smiled and asked, "Before you had me, I once said that after I slept with you, I would kill you. Do you think I would do that?" Yang Dingtian's heart trembled. "I don't know. You can't say that you don't know. You have to answer yes or no." The mermaid queen said, "I think I would." Yang Dingtian replied. "But," the mermaid queen asked, "I discovered that although you are crazy and twisted, you will do whatever you want. But basically, you will do whatever you say. For this game, you have lost. Since you agreed to the bet, you must accept your loss and give yourself to me." Yang Dingtian continued, "But before that, since you said you would kill me, you will most likely still kill me. Since you know, why do you still want me? Could it be that you want me to be more important than your life?" The mermaid queen laughed. "Of course, my life is more important." Yang Dingtian continued, "But I also want to take a gamble. I am also willing to accept my loss." The mermaid queen laughed. "You are right." Then, the mermaid queen said, "Then, before you die, what do you want me to do?" "What do you want me to do?" "You can only say one thing. Also, you have to consider my ability to accept it. Don't ask for too much." Yang Dingnan thought for a while and said, "Don't hurt fierce blade princess. Don't let her die." The mermaid queen was stunned. Then, she smiled and said, "You are indeed a gentle man and a very good man." Taking a deep breath, the mermaid queen said gently, "My heart almost softened. I know that this is your heartfelt words and not a plan to save your life. But I'm sorry. I can't let a man control me. I also don't want to be on the losing side. Of course, in the end, I don't want a man to control me. I want to be free and unique." "I am sorry." The mermaid queen raised her palm and slammed it down. Her palm was incomparably beautiful, like jade and snow. However, this was the power of a saint-level fighter. Without a sound, it slammed down on Yang Dingtian's back. There was no vomiting of blood, no screaming. In an instant, Yang Dingtian no longer had any aura or vitality. His heart stopped beating. His celestial chi stopped circulating. Death seemed to have suddenly descended and taken over Yang Dingtian's body and soul. Although Yang Dingtian was strong enough, compared to the saint-level Mermaid Queen, he was probably nothing. Then, the Mermaid Queen walked out of the room in her golden dress. As for Yang Dingtian, she did not even look at him. With that slap, Yang Dingtian would definitely die. There was no need to look. When she left the room, she swept her sleeve. Instantly, Yang Dingtian's corpse was swept a few thousand meters away and flew out of the palace. Then she swung her sleeve again, as if she wanted to sweep away all traces of Yang Dingtian's aura. Go, bury him in the center of the Mermaid Mausoleum, to the right of my grave. The Mermaid Queen said slowly, give him a tombstone with the words Husband of the Mermaid Empire, Yang Ding, on it. Immediately, 2 guards flew over and picked up Yang Dingtian's corpse and flew towards the Mermaid Mausoleum. An hour later, there was a tombstone in the center of the Mermaid Mausoleum. On it were the words Grave of Husband of the Mermaid Empire, Yang Ding. As for Yang Dingtian, he was already buried deep in the soil. This Mermaid Queen really did what she said. How vicious and merciless. When Yang Dingtian was faced with a dead end, he often liked to gamble. But this time, he really did not know if it was a loss or a win. It should still be a loss. Although he had achieved his goal, he had lost his life. The 2 beautiful mermaid guards let out a deep sigh and then flew away in spirals. For hours later, a black shadow flew over from afar and completely covered the sky above the Mermaid Mausoleum. It was none other than the Queen Devil Queen of the Evil Ways, the former sect master of the Yin sect, Nihility Piao Ling. The Queen Devil Queen flapped her huge demonic wings and landed in the center of the Mermaid Mausoleum. Looking at Yang Dingtian's tombstone, she could not help but sigh softly and reveal a complicated expression. As expected of a crazy mermaid. Yang Dingtian, you made a mistake. The Queen Devil Queen said indifferently. Then, she pulled out her sword and began to dig. After digging 5 feet into the ground, she saw Yang Dingtian's corpse. At this time, it was still vivid and lifelike. She dug out Yang Dingtian's corpse and restored the Mermaid Mausoleum to its original state. Then, the Queen Devil Queen hugged Yang Dingtian and flapped her huge wings, flying towards the endless darkness in the west. Chapter 922. The Infernal Queen's undead concubine flapped her gigantic wings and constantly flew towards the west, flying away, flying away. Soon, she flew out of the 1,000-miles imperial city and entered the deep sea. But wherever her aura passed, all the seawater avoided her. She continued to fly towards the west. She flew 5,000 miles, flew over 10,000 miles. Immediately, she reached the end of the ocean. This place was already completely surrounded by dark matter. This place was already the end of the Mermaid Empire. The Demon Queen undead concubine took out a magic wand. There was a bright eye embedded in it. If Yang Dingtian could see, he would definitely recognize that this was the eye of the primordial Naga. That's right, Yang Dingtian had a pair of primordial Naga eyes, and so did Queen Devil Queen. Yang Dingtian had the eyes of the sea snake descendant primordial Naga, and Queen Devil Queen had the eyes of the mermaid descendant primordial Naga. Primordial Naga's eyes burst out with incomparably bright brilliance. Wherever it shone, all the dark matter melted, turning into a huge void. Queen Devil Queen hugged Yang Dingtian and followed the dark void, constantly going deeper, 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 and as she moved forward, the dark matter behind her constantly recovered, quickly filling up the void again. The Devil Queen's dead concubine kept flying, flying, flying. She flew for thousands of miles of dark matter. Whoosh! Then he suddenly flew into a dark nothingness. Amidst the endless nothingness, here, there was no sky, no land, no sun, no moon, no stars. All he had was an endless void of darkness. Then, countless huge castles floated in the void. Countless dark castles were like a huge devil machine. Each dark castle was tens of thousands of meters tall and hundreds of thousands of meters wide. Moreover, all of them were built with special energy substances. Each castle was equivalent to a floating city. It was completely like a huge mountain. On top of it, It was densely packed with the terrifying Legion of Doom. In each castle that was hundreds of miles wide, there were millions of Legion of Doom. They were densely packed like ants, distributed in the huge square in the castle. In the huge hall in the castle. The Legion of Doom in each castle was different. But the most ordinary ones were the 5 meters tall giant warriors. That's right, they were all transformed by the Maori barbarians, but now they no longer looked like the Maori barbarians. The Maori barbarians were only about 2 meters tall. And each of these warriors were more than 5 meters tall. Each warrior had 3 heads and 6 arms. It only had 2 legs, but they had become incomparably thick and long. It only had 1 body, but it was already incomparably huge. Every castle had a gigantic energy formation that was several thousand meters in size. Countless energy tentacles extended into the ground, and reach into the air, to crazily absorb the energy of the entire world to maintain the operation of the giant castle. In the center of the castle, there was a giant refining array. Countless Maori barbarian soldiers lined up to enter the refining array. Then, their bodies were instantly torn into pieces. Their blood, their souls, their skeletons, their energy were all separated. They were turned into countless pieces of flesh, powder, and energy. Then, they were sent into another large fusion array. The countless pieces of flesh, energy, and souls were once again condensed. They were condensed into an incomparably terrifying and disgusting Legion of Doom. The energy array of the Empire of Darkness tore the hundreds of millions of Maori barbarians into pieces. Then, it reformed them into any shape they wanted. Yang Dingtian was unable to see it. If he could see it, he would definitely vomit, be shocked, and tremble. The Darkness Empire was actually able to crush a living being into powder and then reassemble it. It was as though these were not humans, but metal or plastic. They could melt them all and reform them into another product. That's right, this was the Empire of Darkness. It was the most evil, most terrifying, and most terrifying place in the world. Each of the giant castles had countless tentacles that crazily absorbed the energy of the entire world and the entire continent. Each of the castles had a huge refining formation that crushed all living things into pieces. Each of the giant castles had a fusion array that reassembled all the life energy fragments into a Legion of Doom. Wu Yoming's guess was correct. The Legion of Doom was indeed energy. And there were countless giant castles like this in the entire Empire of Darkness. Moreover, each of the castles was tightly connected by energy tentacles. Roar. Suddenly, a loud roar came from one of the castles. Then, many gigantic night owls, night devils, and countless other monsters, as well as countless crystals and treasures, were sucked into the giant refining formation. Then, whether it was the Millennium Owl, other demon beasts, or the crystals and treasures, all of them were completely refined into terrifying energy. Finally, a gigantic energy creature flew out of the fusion array. This was an incomparably ferocious and terrifying energy monster. It looked like an owl, but it was more like a Western dragon in the movies on Earth. This terrifying energy dragon was at least a few thousand meters long. It suddenly flew out of the fusion array, opened its mouth, and instantly spat out flames that soared hundreds of thousands of meters into the sky. Pa 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 pa. Then, it suddenly struck out terrifying lightning that was tens of thousands of meters long. Whoosh 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 whoosh, and such huge dark dragons flew out one after another. Then, they completely hovered over the entire Empire of Darkness. There were dozens and hundreds of them in front of them. It could be said that just one dark dragon alone was enough to wipe out an army of hundreds of thousands. And in the next giant castle, countless fire demon earth dragons, corrosive earth dragons, metal-eating earth dragons, perhaps millions or tens of millions. In short, countless earth dragons of all kinds were all sucked into the refining array and instantly turned into countless flesh and blood and energy. Then, they were combined again in the fusion array. Suddenly, a terrifying earth dragon that was tens of thousands of meters long and hundreds of meters thick suddenly drilled out. Roar! It let out a disgusting roar and opened its terrifying mouth. There were tens of thousands of teeth inside. Yang Dingtian didn't even see it. If he saw it, even if he was a god, he would completely despair about this apocalyptic war. The demon king Wenian had prepared for 200 years. What did he get? How did he know about such an astonishing castle and energy array? In short, for 200 years, he had created an earth-shattering and terrifying Legion of Doom. This Legion of Doom was different from all the previous ones in history. This Legion of Doom was not to attack the human empire at all. It was to slaughter gods. The Queen Devil Queen continued to fly. After entering the Empire of Darkness, she still flew 20,000 miles and passed through countless giant castles. Finally, she came to the center of the entire empire. Here, there was a tower that reached the sky. All the giant castles protected it in the center. It was unknown how tall it was. Perhaps it was hundreds of thousands of meters, perhaps millions of meters, or perhaps even taller. Because it reached down into the endless abyss of the Earth's core and reached up into the endless deep space. The energy tentacles of all the castles extended to the top of this sky-reaching tower. The Devil Queen's dead concubine carried Yang Dingtian and slowly flew into the main hall of the tower. An incomparably dark but incomparably gorgeous hall. A hall that was 1,000 meters tall. Even the dark palace of Lich King Arthas in the Kingdom of Warcraft was not as magnificent as this. Everything in the hall was empty. Above, there was a dark throne made of an indescribable material. Your Majesty, the King of the Human Kingdoms, Yang Dingtian, has been brought here. The Queen Devil Queen slowly knelt down and said, "But he is already dead. He was killed by the Mermaid Queen." This crazy woman. A deep and gloomy voice sounded in the air. It was as if metal was rubbing against each other, or as if a cold wind was pouring into a cave in a large mountain. But it doesn't matter if he's dead. To us, life and death are just nouns. The voice of the Demon King Wenian sounded. Whoosh, then a cold wind seemed to blow through the air. Suddenly, countless black dust condensed and turned into a dark figure. This was the Demon King Wenian, but only a black shadow and a pair of eyes that were like colorless flames could be seen. Your Majesty Demon King, now that everything has been completed and all the arrangements have been completed, isn't it time for your resurrection? Isn't it time to summon your body and life in the human kingdoms? The Queen Devil Queen said. No. The Demon King Wenian smiled and said, "There's no hurry. My resurrection is the most insignificant thing. What's important is the person in front of me, the spokesperson of the God of Chaos, the child of destiny, Yang Dingtian." The Queen Devil Queen trembled and said, "We just need his greater space technique." No. The Demon King Wenian laughed and said, "We need him to do more. Okay, the main character is here, so the biggest wedding in history should start. Piao Ling, are you ready to be a bride?" The Queen Devil Queen said in shock, No, I am your woman, I am the Devil Queen. How can I marry Yang Dingtian?" The Demon King Wenian laughed and said, "Marry him and you will still be the Devil Queen, understand?" Suddenly, the Queen Devil Queen was completely shocked. The Demon King Wenian said slowly, "Since it's a wedding and the knell to destroy the world, why not make it even grander? Then let's not just have one bride, but 4. From now on, there will be 4 Devil Queen. Little brother Yang Dingtian, your luck with women is not bad, ha." The Demon King Wentian's shadow laughed crazily. Chapter 923. Sigh. After struggling for hundreds of years, it's finally time to reap the rewards. The Demon King Wentian looked at Yang Dingtian's face and slowly said, "Little brother, although I have never seen you before, we are each other's only family in this world, our only compatriots. So, let us share all the glory and suffering." Then, the Demon King Wentian suddenly raised his hands and Yang Dingtian's body slowly flew up towards the highest point of the tower. He flew higher and higher, higher and higher. Then, in the huge space, countless energy lights suddenly grew out and wrapped around his body. Just like that, Yang Dingtian's body was hung at the top of the tower that was hundreds of thousands of meters high. They looked a little like the imprisoned gods in myths and legends. The Demon King Wentian looked at the Devil Queen and said, "The main character is here. Now, it's time to invite the guests." "Yes, Your Majesty." The Devil Queen's expression was incomparably complicated. Then she suddenly spread her wings and flew towards the Mermaid Empire in the east. One day later, the Devil Queen once again descended on the palace of the Mermaid Empire. The Mermaid Queen was still standing in front of the window, motionless as she looked at the palace outside. Her beautiful eyes were filled with confusion. The Devil Queen slowly landed in front of her and said, "Your Majesty, it's time. You should set off for the Empire of Darkness." The Mermaid Queen casually replied and then said, "What about my Sea Race Army?" The Devil Queen said, "The Sea Race Army is not in a hurry. This time, you are invited to the Empire of Darkness to participate in a wedding?" "Wedding?" The Mermaid Queen shook her head and said, "I'm not going." The Devil Queen said, "I'm afraid you have to go because you will also become one of the brides?" The Mermaid Queen was a little interested and said, "If I become a bride, who will I marry?" The Devil Queen said, "That's a secret. But I can tell you that I will also be one of the brides." The Mermaid Queen's beautiful eyes suddenly brightened and said, "Now I'm really interested. But my husband just died. Wouldn't it be bad if I remarry?" The Devil Queen said, "Your husband? When did you remarry?" The Mermaid Queen said, "Just yesterday. It was that little man Yang Dingtian. After we slept, I killed him. He only slept with her. He didn't marry her, so he's not considered her husband. It's not considered remarriage." The Infernal Queen's dead concubine said. The Mermaid Queen thought for a while and said, "You're right. How about this? I'll go with you to see who the groom is. If I like him, I'll marry him. If not, I won't marry him." The Demon Queen's dead princess said, "Of course." Then, the Mermaid Queen and the Mermaid of the Mermaid Queen, two of the Mermaid Queen to the west. After flying to the end of the Mermaid Empire, the Mermaid Queen's expression was clearly a little excited. Because they had arrived at the place surrounded by the dark matter. The Devil Queen took out her devil palm. The eyes of the primordial Naga on it released light and melted the dark matter again. Then, under the Mermaid Queen's excited and fanatical gaze, the two peerless beauties flew into the deep cave. And behind them, the dark matter was constantly recovering. After flying several thousand miles through the dark matter, the Devil Queen, undead concubine, and the Mermaid Queen flew into the Darkness Empire. As for the Mermaid Queen, she was immediately shocked. Then she almost held her breath. "Your Legion of Doom is so powerful that you don't need our Sea Race Army. Why are you still so patient with me?" The Devil Queen said indifferently, "His Majesty said to unite all forces that can be united." In the following time, the Mermaid Queen's disrespect completely disappeared and was replaced by infinite seriousness and shock. Obviously, the Empire of Darkness in front of her had brought an unprecedented shock to her. Even these terrifying castles, these energy claws that reached the heavens and the earth, had already exceeded her imagination. After flying for tens of thousands of miles and passing through countless huge dark castles, the Devil Queen brought the Mermaid Queen and slowly flew into the central tower. Of course, this was not the hall where the Demon King Wenyan was, but a room, a magnificent room. "Your Majesty, this is your room. There are many books and special maids inside. I hope you'll be satisfied." The Devil Queen said, "And I still need to invite the others." The Mermaid Queen glanced at the magnificent room and said, "Other than you, are there any other living people here?" The Devil Queen hesitated for a moment, then shook her head and said, "Sorry, there's no one left." The Mermaid Queen said, "Then you're not staying to accompany me. Where are you going?" The Devil Queen said, "To pick up the other two brides." With that, the Devil Queen flew out of the tower. This time, she flew towards the northwest. The Devil Queen was not alone. She had more than a dozen huge dark dragons. Some were thousands of meters long, and some were even tens of thousands of meters long. On top of them, there was a dense pack of meat and grain. More than a dozen dragons carried hundreds of millions of kilograms of grain and meat. Under the lead of the Devil Queen, they flew towards the northwest. Because this was the Empire of Darkness, other than the huge dark castles, there was only a void. Otherwise, when the dark dragons flew over the human countries, just the storm caused by the flapping of their wings would be destructive. However, The dark dragon's flying speed was not very fast. After 2 days and 2 nights, they flew more than 30,000 miles. Then, the demon queen undead concubine led the dozen or so dragons to a stop. She took out her magic wand again and shone it at the dark matter above. Immediately, the light of the primeval Naga completely melted the dark matter above them. The dark matter here was very thin, only a few tens of thousands of meters. The Devil Queen's magic palm easily illuminated a large hole with a diameter of a few hundred meters. Rumble! Then, a loud sound came from above. Immediately, layer after layer of barriers were opened. Finally, a ray of light shot down and directly saw the sky outside. Immediately after, an incomparably charming voice sounded, "Your Majesty Devil Queen, how have you been?" The Devil Queen said, "Queen Hyexin, I've brought you food and meat." Then, Queen Hyexin said. Then, the Devil Queen suddenly used her power. Instantly, the food on the dark dragon's back flowed like a tide toward the cave. It flew upward and directly entered the pyramid of the Naga Empire. That's right, this was the reason why the Snake People Empire could still feed tens of millions of troops even if their productivity was greatly reduced. She and the Empire of Darkness had long been in cahoots. The Devil Queen had always been transporting food for her empire. As for how the Empire of Darkness obtained such an astronomical amount of food and meat, that was unknown. Although this astronomical amount of food flew out faster than a meteor, it still took a full 4 hours to transport all of it to the giant pyramid of the Snake People Empire. Queen Hyexin laughed hoarsely and said, "Then, thank you, Your Majesty Devil Queen. I owe you another favor. I hope to have a chance to return it." The Devil Queen said, "Queen Hyexin, this time, other than delivering food, I'm inviting you to the Skirich imperial capital of the Empire of Darkness." Queen Hyexin fell into a short silence and said, "I'm very, very grateful for your invitation. I also feel extremely honored, but I'm very sorry. I'm really busy." The Devil Queen said, "I believe Li Ming has already sent you the invitation, right?" Queen Hyexin said, "Yes, I'm very willing to attend his wedding with Princess Mudan, but," the Devil Queen said, "this time, I'm inviting you as the bride to attend the biggest wedding in history." Queen Hyexin suddenly trembled and said, "Me, bride? May I ask who I'm marrying? Is it His Majesty Demon King? But if you remember correctly, in this world, other than Yang Dingtan, no one can make me go into heat." The Devil Queen said slowly, "I'll say 2 things. First, His Majesty Demon King said that we should unite all forces that can be united. Second, Yang Dingtian is already in the Skirich imperial capital, and he's dead." Queen Hyexin cried out in shock, tears gushing out. She said in disbelief, He's dead? Impossible, impossible. It seems that Your Majesty's heart belongs to someone." The Devil Queen smiled and said, "Don't worry, he will revive in another way. Then, the person you will marry will also be him. Of course, I will also be marrying him." Queen Hyexin was completely shocked. This turn of events was too shocking. Yang Dingtian was going to revive? Moreover, she was going to marry Yang Dingtian, and the Devil Queen was also going to marry Yang Dingtian. Weren't they afraid of offending the seniority? The Devil Queen smiled and said, "All these years, we've sent you countless grains and meat as well as countless treasures. It should be enough as a betrothal gift, right?" Queen Seaheart said bitterly, "I don't have any other choice, do I?" "Yes, you have no choice." The Devil Queen said, "If you refuse, your Snakeman Empire will be wiped out in 3 days." "Okay, I understand," Queen Hyexin said. Then, she flew into the 100-meter-long tunnel from the pyramid. She flew into a dark void and came to the Devil Queen's side. "Let's go to the Skirich imperial capital. From now on, we will be sisters," the Devil Queen said. Then, she led Queen Hyexin and flew towards the west. The Seaheart Queen immediately saw countless enormous black dragons. This was the first time she had seen such terrifying creatures. So it turned out that the food and meat had been carried by them every time. Instantly, Queen Hyexin's heart was filled with bitterness. Then, after seeing countless huge castles, Queen Hai-Xen felt suffocated. Although her mermaid empire was also very powerful, it was as weak as a baby in front of the Empire of Darkness. The Devil Queen was not exaggerating when she said that she would destroy the Snakeman Empire in 3 days. The Devil Queen and the Dead Princess entered the Skirich imperial capital with the Sea Heart Queen. Of course, they entered another luxurious room. "This is your room. You can read and rest, but you can't leave normally," the Devil Queen said. Queen Hai-Xen looked at the magnificent room with complicated feelings. She said, "Where is Yang Dingnan?" The Devil Queen said, "He's here too. Don't worry. In a few days at most, you'll be able to see a new Yang Dingtian, a Yang Dingtian filled with incomparable charm." Queen Hai-Xen sat down on the bed and looked at everything in the room. It was filled with joy. There were even red 11 characters from Earth everywhere. However, in this environment, even the red quilts and red 11 characters did not have any sense of joy. Instead, it was filled with gloominess. The Devil Queen said, "All right, I'm going to pick up the 4th bride." "Who is she?" "Princess Mudan Dongfang Bingling?" Queen Hai-Xen asked. The Devil Queen smiled. "You won't be able to guess. It's a woman you can't imagine at all." Then, the Devil Queen forgot to open her huge dark wings and flew out of the Skirich imperial capital. This time, she flew directly towards the north and disappeared into the darkness in the blink of an eye. At the same time, in the energy prison that tore open space, the naked Princess Vulture knelt in the center. She put her palms together and prayed continuously. "Heaven, earth, twin moons, twin suns, God of chaos, no matter what, please give me a miracle and let me leave this place, let me leave this prison. I'm willing to exchange anything, whether it's my soul or my body. If you can let me out, I'm willing to let a beast humiliate me 10,000 times." Vulture prayed and kowtowed sincerely. Chapter 924. Queen Devil Queen kept flying north. After flying for a few thousand miles, she took out her magic wand and melted the dark matter above her head into a cave. Then she directly drilled in. Next, Queen Devil Queen turned hundreds and thousands of times, constantly shuttling through the dark matter, constantly changing directions. After flying for a few hours, she did not know how many thousands of miles she had flown. In the end, the passage of the melted dark matter became narrower and narrower. In the end, only one person could barely pass through, so Queen Devil Queen had no choice but to retract her huge wings. The dark matter here had already become a sharp tentacle, as if it had directly penetrated into another space, and it was still constantly fantasizing. The light of the Ghost Princess wand suddenly shone. Suddenly, the dark matter in front completely melted and turned into a hole. In front was a completely different world, another plane. Everywhere, there were floating boulders. There was no sky, no earth, only floating boulders. That's right, this was a torn space. Although Devil Queen did not know the greater space spell, the tentacles of the dark matter had already crossed space and planes, touching every place. She, who had the eyes of the primeval Naga, could shuttle through the dark matter and reach any place. Whoosh! Devil Queen suddenly flew out of the dark matter and drilled into the torn space. And behind, the dark matter completely recovered, turning into sharp tentacles that connected to various spaces. Infernal Queen Undead Concubine flapped her wings and constantly flew upwards in search. Her beautiful figure constantly shuttled between the boulders. 10 hours later, Queen Devil Queen was hanging above the energy prison where Vulture was. At this moment, Vulture was kneeling in the prison, praying over and over again. "Heaven, earth, twin moons, twin suns, God of chaos, no matter what, please give me a miracle, let me leave this place, let me leave this prison. I am willing to exchange anything, whether it is my soul or my body. If you can let me out, I am willing to let a beast humiliate me 10,000 times. As long as I can be free, as long as I can take revenge, I am willing to pay any price, any price. Even if I become a devil, even if 10,000 demons take turns to trample on me, even if my body is riddled with holes. As long as I can get out of here, I will use all my means to take revenge. I will take revenge on Yang Dingtian, his family, Wolingzi, Dongli, and Weiming. Ha! As long as I can get out, I'm willing to pay any price, any price. Looking at Spirit Vulture, who had gone completely crazy, the infernal queen undead samurai said slowly, "Are you sure?" The vulture trembled. Its first reaction was that it was an illusion. Then, she jerked her head up and looked around. Soon, he saw the Devil Queen hanging in the air like a monarch overlooking the world. Her beauty had already caused countless floating boulders to stagnate. Her aura completely enveloped the entire torn space. I'm sure. The vulture immediately knelt down in front of her and said, "I beg you, please save me. I am willing to be your slave, your loyal dog." The Devil Queen said, "You said that even if you become a demon, you are willing?" The vulture nodded desperately and said, "Not to mention becoming a demon, even if I become a malicious spirit, I am willing." "Very good." The Devil Queen nodded. She suddenly raised her lily-white hand, and the energy prison embedded in the boulder suddenly flew out. Then, she clapped her palm lightly. Suddenly, the energy prison was completely shattered. The vulture felt that the shackles on its body were all gone, and it immediately became extremely excited. I am free. Ha! All those who have harmed me, all those who have wronged me, just you wait, you will get the craziest revenge, ha! Yang Dingtian, Wolingzi, Wu Yuming, all of you remember, I will crazily take revenge on all of you. The naked vulture laughed and cried crazily, cheering and dancing wildly. The infernal queen undead samurai glanced at her nonchalantly. She rolled up her long sleeves and immediately wrapped around the spirit vulture's body. Then she flapped her huge wings and flew toward the tentacles of the dark matter. Through the tentacles of the dark matter, the Devil Queen used her magic wand to melt a passage, and once again entered the dark matter. After hundreds of thousands of miles, they rushed out of the dark matter and returned to the Empire of Darkness. You are the Devil Queen, right? The vulture asked with a trembling voice. Yes, I am the Devil Queen. The dead princess said. The vulture suddenly became extremely excited and said, "Can you make me very powerful?" Prince Li Ming said that I am very, very important to the Holy Church, so much so that they are not even willing to give me a second-class evil spirit? The Devil Queen nodded and said, "That's right." The vulture said, "Then please make me powerful immediately. I want all those who have offended me to taste the hellish consequences." The Devil Queen smiled and nodded. "Don't worry, you will soon become powerful." The vulture asked, "How powerful?" "Beyond your imagination." The Devil Queen said. The vulture asked, "Is it as powerful as Yang Dingtan?" The Devil Queen smiled and did not say anything. Then, the vulture saw the incomparably huge dark castle, as well as the astonishing dark dragons, terrifying earth dragons, and dark warriors, and suddenly felt the blood in her body boiling and said, "This is the Legion of Doom, right?" "That's right." The Devil Queen said. "Haha." The vulture sneered and said, "The Council of Light is dead for sure, the human countries are dead for sure, Yang Dingtian's army is finished. They are completely finished, haha, I am so happy, I am so happy." The Devil Queen ignored it and continued to fly with the vulture towards the center of the Empire of Darkness. They flew to the Skirich imperial capital. The Devil Queen bathed the vulture and burned incense, then changed into an incomparably luxurious dark dress. Finally, she was brought to an incomparably magnificent hall. "Your Majesty, I have brought you this 1 in a billion celestial spirit master." The Devil Queen knelt and said. Suddenly, a burst of dark fog suddenly condensed into a figure. It was a mighty and terrifying figure with eyes that were like 2 flames. The Dark King went in slowly, sat on the throne and said, "This is the 4th bride?" "Yes, Your Majesty." The Devil Queen said. When the vulture heard the 4th bride, her beautiful eyes immediately lit up and said, "I am going to be your bride. This is my glory for life." Ha! The Demon King went in suddenly laughed and said, "No, you are not just a bride. You are also the invincible commander of my Legion of Doom." Really? The vulture's delicate body shook violently, and she said in disbelief, Alright, it is her, there is no other choice. The Demon King said, "Begin the sacrificial ceremony." The Devil Queen glanced at the vulture and said, "Your Majesty, that corpse is very, very precious. Are you sure you want to do this now?" "Yes." The Demon King said, "There is no other choice, and her soaring hatred, jealousy, narrow-mindedness, and viciousness, aren't all these darkness what we need?" "Yes, Your Majesty." The Devil Queen bowed and said, "I will do it right away." Then, the Devil Queen carried the vulture's body and directly flew outside. Vulture frowned slightly, as if she was a little impatient with the Devil Queen carrying her. She still wanted to stay with the Demon King for a while. Wasn't he the ruler of the entire world? Moreover, she was about to become his bride, below one person and above millions of people. The Devil Queen carried the vulture and arrived above a huge dark castle. This dark castle was different from the other castles. There was not a single dark warrior inside. The refining formation with a diameter of a few hundred meters was operating at a terrifying speed, but there was nothing inside. The fusion formation below was also operating, but there was also nothing inside. "Your Majesty, we can begin," the Devil Queen said. Suddenly, a dark flying dragon flew out from below the Skirich imperial capital, with a beautiful and enchanting demon Shura in its claws. Of course, it was just a corpse. The Hell Shura was a hybrid race born from the union of the demon Rakshasa and the Hell Yaksha. The demon Rakshasa had once competed with the Naga for the demigod race, but failed and was slaughtered by the Naga race. In the end, they had no choice but to escape into the depths of the earth's crust, where they would never see the light of day. In the Underworld Empire, Yang Dingtian had once encountered a demigod demon Rakshasa, but it was bitten to death by the Naga Shuang. Moreover, at the Netherworld Ghost Emperor's banquet, he had seen many demigod demon Rakshasas. No matter what, the demon Rakshasa was one of the most powerful races in the world, but now it was completely sealed in the Underworld Empire. Every demon Rakshasa had unparalleled spiritual power, and they were best at charming people. The Hell Yaksha. They were also from the Underworld demon race. When the master of Joyous Palace, Lonely Man, fought Zhu Qingzhu, he had transformed into a Hell Yaksha. The specialty of the Hell Yaksha was that they had an extremely strong physical body, and they were invulnerable. As for the demon Shura, it was a hybrid between the demon Rakshasa and the Hell Yaksha. It was the offspring of the two races. It was very rare because these two races had been at odds with each other for a long time, and there were very few cases of them combining. Moreover, even if they combined, most of the children were born with natural disabilities. Only a very small number of the demon Shura were normal. However, this extremely rare demon Shura had the racial talent to cross the two worlds. It had an unparalleled spiritual talent, and it also had an extremely strong physical body. It was because of its rarity that the entire Empire of Darkness had such a corpse of the demon Shura. This demon Shura had a devilish body, but it also had a devilish face. Below its legs were demon hooves. The wings on its back were sharper than any treasured sword. Its face was uglier and more ferocious than any other race. The curves of its body were hotter than any other race. On its head, there were two ferocious horns, and at its waist was a demon's tail. In short, this was a monster, an extremely tyrannical monster. Of course, right now, she was only a corpse. "Let's begin." The demon King Wentian's voice slowly rang out. Immediately, the Devil Queen grabbed Vulture and flew above the huge refining array. Below, in the huge refining array, an incomparably terrifying energy solution was boiling and rolling. One moment, it was blood red, the next moment, it was a gorgeous green, and the next moment, it was a terrifying black. The incomparably shocking temperature and unparalleled energy were roaring and churning. This refining array was really like a giant refining pot in the 18 levels of hell, and it could destroy mountains and rivers. Vulture was immediately scared out of its wits and said in shock, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Let me go, let me go. I am the Demon King's bride, Your Majesty Demon King, save me." The Devil Queen smiled lightly and then threw her away. Immediately, with a shrill cry, Vulture's delicate body fell into this terrifying refining array. When she was dozens of meters away from the array, the clothes on her body instantly turned to ashes. Then her entire body entered the terrifying and ever-changing energy fluid. In an instant, her entire delicate body completely disintegrated and disappeared. At the same time, from the Skirich imperial capital, a colorless light suddenly appeared. It was like the tentacles of a demon, and it penetrated into the refining array. Immediately after, the wyvern grabbed Demon Shura's corpse and flew above the refining array. Whoosh! It directly threw Demon Shura's corpse down. In an instant, Demon Shura's corpse also turned to ashes and completely disintegrated. Then, the entire Skirich imperial capital suddenly burst into bright light. Pa 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 pa! Countless huge lightning bolts crazily struck the refining array. The energy solution in the refining array quickly spun, and spun. Gradually, the energy solution in the refining array completely turned transparent and colorless. In the end, it completely turned into nothingness. Then, the countless energy powder inside was thrown out of the refining array and turned into a gust of wind that blew directly into another fusion array. The entire fusion array began to glow. Countless crystals and treasures poured into the fusion array. The entire fusion array released a dazzling light. Countless tentacles crazily devoured the power of the entire world. Wu Yoming's guess was correct. The reason why the world of ice and snow, the demon realm, and the Yin-Yang mirror, these three continents had died so quickly was all because of one reason. Because the energy of the three continents had been absorbed and devoured by the entire empire of darkness. And the blood-like river water of the Ecstasy River was indeed the product of countless legion of dooms shattering. The fusion array spun crazily devouring energy, crazily completing the fusion of life and races. In the end, everything stopped. The door of the melting array slowly opened. A peerless beauty, a brand new little Princess Vulture, a fusion of Demon Shura and a human, was born. Vulture had been reborn. Chapter 925. The brand new Vulture slowly walked out. Her face was still the same as before. Her facial features were still the same. However, she looked like a completely different person. Her youthful charm was gone. Instead, it was replaced by a magical beauty and seductive charm. Her eye sockets had deepened, and her pupils had turned into a seductive purple. Her nose became high and pointed. Her lips had become plump and fiery red. Her face and even the skin on her body had become whiter. It was no less white than Wumaji's. It was similar to the whiteness of the white people on Earth. Her face had also become longer. Therefore, although her facial features were still Vulture's, the contours of her face had deepened. Her entire face had become especially seductive and mysterious. The size of the airport that Vulture had been brooding over previously was no less than Wumaji's. Her slender waist was as seductive as a snake's. In short, it was the purest form of a demon's body. Of course, she was still very different from a human. First of all, she had purplish-red wings on her back. They were purely the wings of a demon. Their shape was similar to that of a bat's, but they were more beautiful. Her ears were completely the ears of a demon. They were very sharp. Also, her jade feet had disappeared. In their place were the hooves of a demon. As for her hands, although they still had the appearance of human hands, they had especially sharp fingernails. They were long and innately purplish-red in color. Her hair was also purplish-red. She had turned from a one-in-a-million beauty into a peerless beauty at the top of the pyramid. Whoosh! She flapped her wings and flew in the air. She let out a hoarse and seductive voice. Yang Dingtian, you will soon see my revenge. I will make all those who have hurt me suffer a fate worse than death. Then she let out an incomparably terrifying and seductive smile. She suddenly raised her jade hands high. Whoosh 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 whoosh. In an instant, all the dark wyverns and dark colossal dragons within a few hundred meters were shattered into pieces and turned into countless energy. Then, it began to condense in her hands, revive, and transform into an even more terrifying flying dragon. Queen Devil Queen looked at all of this and revealed a seductive smile. She slowly said, "The most crucial part of the Legion of Doom has been fixed." At this point, Vulture, who had suffered all kinds of humiliation and torture, finally welcomed the peak of her life and completed the most terrifying rebirth. Wolingzi had been wandering aimlessly for a few months now. In Yang Dingtian's words, this should be a very happy time, like an immortal roaming the world. However, to Wolingzi he was like a walking corpse, completely unable to find any home. Just like that, he walked aimlessly at the edge of the world. He went to the coast of the East Sea, went to the extreme south, went to the east parting grassland, and went to the extreme West Sea. He wanted to find a place to stay, but he could not find it at all. He had stayed in the Vulture Palace for too long, nearly 200 years. As long as he left the Vulture Palace, he would feel like a lonely ghost, unable to find any sense of security. However, now the Vulture Palace had been completely reduced to ruins. There was nothing left. Even his own daughter, the most beloved spirit vulture, had been betrayed to Yang Dingtian by his own mouth. Right now, it was unknown whether she was dead or alive. He had become a true loner. His hatred for Yang Dingtian in his heart seemed to deepen day by day. However, he could not arouse the desire for revenge at all. It was not fear, but a kind of complete desolation. Just like that, he wandered like a walking corpse, wandering, until one day, Crown Prince Li Ming appeared in front of him. "Senior Wolingzi, it's time. I'll take you to the Temple of Annihilation," Li Ming said. Wolingzi looked at Li Ming. It was hard to tell whether it was anger or sarcasm. It was because of the appearance of Crown Prince Li Ming that he provoked Yang Dingtian, leading to the destruction of the entire Vulture Palace. At that time, when Yang Dingtian destroyed the Vulture Palace and captured the Vulture, where was Crown Prince Li Ming? He was completely sitting on the sidelines, watching the Vulture Palace be destroyed. "Thank you, Crown Prince Li Ming, but I'm old and don't want to travel thousands of miles." Wolingzi declined politely. Crown Prince Li Ming said, "At the wedding, you will see your daughter, the Vulture. She has completely changed now. She is only second to one and above millions. She has become a true ruler who can summon the wind and summon the rain." Wolingzi said in shock, "Wasn't she imprisoned by Yang Dinghan?" Crown Prince Li Ming said, "His Excellency Yang Dingtian is already in our hands. He will also participate in this grand wedding." Wolingzi immediately gasped and said, "It is the old slave's honor to be able to participate in young master's wedding." "Then please." Crown Prince Li Ming said. At the same time, Princess Mu Dan slowly descended to the Temple of Blood and said, "Senior Dugu, it's time." Dugu Shao opened his eyes and said with a tremble, "It's finally time?" Mu Dan said, "Oh then let's go." Dugu Shao said. A few hours later, the lonely man who had been in seclusion in the Joyous Palace for many years also appeared behind Princess Mu Dan. At the same time, at the southern end of the first dark realm, at the border of the abyss, Dongli, who had not been seen for a long time, appeared at the border of the abyss. Behind him were more than 200 Fox Clan experts. Leading them was Yao Li's brother, the young master of the Golden Clan, Yao Ming. There was also Jia's cousin, Yao Mi, the former fiancé of the Moro clan's young master, Yao Lung. That's right, the two factions that were originally at odds with each other in the Dark Realm had completely stood together. Because of Dongli, they stood together. Dongli had the void crack fire and could travel through the border of the abyss. Yongshi Wendian felt the great fissure in the Dark Realm, so he ordered Dongli to immediately enter the Dark Realm and bring the remaining Fox Clan experts out of the Dark Realm. Therefore, just as Yao Ming and all the Fox Clan experts were in despair, Dongli appeared in front of them and told them that he could bring them out of this damned Dark Realm and return to the Little Western Paradise. Moreover, there were no conditions. Not only that, he also showed them the token of the chairman of the Little Western Paradise. Therefore, Dongli had completely subdued the two factions of the Fox Demon Clan. Then, he personally used the Void Crack Fire to pass through the border of the Abyss and arrived at the first Dark Realm. Now, they were about to leave the Dark Realm and enter the human countries. Dongli came before the young master of the Golden Clan, Yao Lung and bowed. Young Master Yao Lung, I have a small favor to ask of you. Yao Lung said, Sir Dongli is our savior, please tell me what to do. Dongli said, in a few days, it will be the wedding of Prince Li Ming of the Temple of Annihilation. Before you all return to the Little Western Paradise, may I have the honor to invite you all to the Temple of Annihilation to attend the wedding? Yao Ling only hesitated for a moment before saying, such a grand occasion, of course I can't ask for more. Then many thanks. Dongli said. Then he released the void crack fire and entered the abyss. The void crack fire split and split continuously and instantly filled the entire abyss. Then, the black and white flames began to merge, and the entire abyss turned into a transparent crystal. Dongli said to young Master Yao Leng, everyone please, you can leave this damned dark realm. Long live. Instantly, the Fox Clan experts who had defeated the Fox Clan experts cheered excitedly. Then, one by one, they jumped into the abyss. 2 days later, a few hundred Fox Clan experts and Dongli appeared in the northern sky above the snowy land. A few hundred people instantly turned into countless meteors and flew towards the west, north of Sky Demon City, the Toxic Sea region. An incomparably beautiful and enchanting figure suddenly rushed out of the sea. Flapping her huge wings, she instantly flew to a height of tens of thousands of meters, and then flew towards the southwest. It had been many years, and this was probably the first time the Queen Devil Queen had returned to the ground. She passed by Sky Demon City, the Land of Chaos, the Northwest Continent, and the Southwest Continent. On the vast sea, she saw countless council of light warships. This was the strongest Tiando League in history. Compared to the Tiando League that Nihility Piao Ling had 200 years ago, it was dozens of times stronger. Yang Dingtian had only used a few short years to unify the entire human country and created the strongest war machine in thousands of years. He was really amazing. Unfortunately, he had met the Demon King Wenin, and the Demon King Wenin had coincidentally found evil energy, Queen Medusa, the ruins of the martial energy civilization from hundreds of thousands of years ago, and the incomparably huge Empire of Darkness. Therefore, no matter how strong the Council of Light was, in front of the Legion of Doom, it was just a child's toy. Queen Devil Queen flapped her wings and flew towards the south. Finally, she arrived at an island that looked like silver sand. This was the Netherworld Sea region. Sect Master Wu Yu, Queen Devil Queen has come to seek an audience. The surface of the sea was calm. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew, and countless amounts of seawater began to condense into a magnificent and devastatingly beautiful figure. It was the master of the Netherworld Sea, Wu. How have you been? We meet again. However, should I call you Nihility Piao Ling or Queen Devil Queen? The face formed by seawater was still incomparably beautiful. Wu Yu slowly said, as you wish. Queen Devil Queen said, did Li Ming send you an invitation? He sent it. Wu Yu said, however, I won't be going to Li Ming's wedding. Moreover, it's just a plot against Yang Dingtian, isn't it? No, it's the new Demon King's wedding. Queen Devil Queen said. Wu Yu's expression changed. Demon King's wedding, but the bride isn't me? Why should I go? Queen Devil Queen said, you already have Yong Shi Wenin. Wu Yu sneered, is he Wenin? He isn't. The Wenin I love doesn't have this kind of personality, he doesn't have this kind of thinking. He has the most unconstrained thinking in the world, the most romantic feelings, and the most unswerving determination. Yong Shi Wenin is so feminine, so scheming, and so hypocritical. He's not the one I love. If you say that, he will be very sad. Queen Devil Queen said. Wu Yu said, believe me, I've already tried. I can't do it. After that, Wu Yu said, Demon King's wedding, then who is the bride? It's definitely you, right? Not only me, there are 4 of them. Queen Devil Queen said, moreover, the new Demon King is not only Wendian, Yang Dingtian is also among them. Wu Yu's body trembled violently. That means that I can become a true woman, can give birth to descendants, and can give birth to a demigod, right? That's right, that's the case. Queen Devil Queen said. Ha, pitiful Yong Shi Wenin, Not only was he abandoned by me, he was also abandoned by you. Wu Yu laughed hoarsely. If you want me to participate in the wedding, that's fine, but I want to be the fifth bride. As you wish, my sister. Queen Devil Queen said, time is of the essence, we should head to the shrine. Shrine? Is there really a shrine? Wu Yu asked. There really is a shrine, and it will definitely surpass your imagination, the fifth bride. Queen Devil Queen said. Instantly, Wu Yu's peerless figure flew out from the sea. After that, the two beauties flew tens of thousands of meters in the air, towards the northeast. All the brides were here, and all the guests were also here. Chapter 926. Princess Mu Dan led Dugu Shao, Gudu Muran, Gudu Wuhuan, Lung Ao, Yang Zheng, Shimin Ju, and Qiu Ruhan as they flew towards Sky Devil City. That's right, Shimin Ju, the undying cockroach, and the servant with the surname En, was still alive. This adopted son of Shimin Weiyao first sought refuge with Yang Yan and Qin Xiaobai before seeking refuge with Qin Qiqi. After Qin Qiqi was defeated, he sought refuge with Zhu Qingzhu before seeking refuge with Ning Wuming. After Ning Wuming was defeated, he sought refuge with Wu Yuming. After Wu Yuming was defeated, he sought refuge with Princess Mu Dan. Now, he might have gotten what he wanted. He obtained Princess Mu Dan's second-grade evil spirit and cultivated for over a year in the Taboo Continent's illusory realm. As for Qiu Ruhan, she was once the mistress of the northwest Qin city and Qin Wanchou's wife. Because of the Autumn Water Sword sect, she broke off relations with Qin Wanchou and sold her own body to obtain Ning Wuming's fourth-grade evil spirit. Now, she followed the same plan and used her own body to exchange for Dongli's second-grade evil spirit. Gudu Wuhuan, the young lord of the Joyous Palace, was once Dugu Fengwu's suitor. Similarly, he was the one who bestowed Princess Mu Dan's second-grade evil spirit. There was another person, the servant by Queen Hai Xian's side. He was once the greatest trader of the Mystic Sky sect, the world-renowned shaman spirit master, Gui Wuzi. He was the #1 subordinate by Dongli's side in the grassland of Dongli. Therefore, he naturally obtained Dongli's second-grade evil spirit. There was another person, Zhu Hongshue's younger brother, Zhu Hongyu. As a hardcore opponent of the Council of Light and a resolute usurper of the Mystic Sky sect, he also obtained Dongli's second-grade evil spirit. These 6 second-grade evil spirits formed a team and cultivated for over a year in the Taboo Continent's illusory realm. In the illusory realm of the Taboo Continent, they had gone even further than Yang Dingtian. Therefore, the 4 of them had all reached the advanced martial grandmaster level. As for Dongli, he led hundreds of demonic Fox Clan's experts and landed in Sky Demon City. At this moment, the doors of the Shang Palace were tightly shut. The experts brought by Mu Dan and Dongli were like raindrops as they landed in the Shang Palace. The master of the Demon City's Shang Palace, Salambas, and his second wife, Kong Bao, who had once tried to seduce Yang Dingtian, led a group of black-eyed experts and knelt neatly in the main hall of the Shang Palace. The Temple of Annihilation's head of internal affairs, Salomas, greets Princess Mu Dan and young Master Dongli. Then he, the enchanting Kong Bao, and a group of black-eyed experts all knelt down and kowtowed in unison. Yang Dingtian had suspected many times that the Shang Palace of the Demon City was the property of the evil ways, the property of the Temple of Annihilation. But in the end, all his suspicions were dispelled, and the facts proved that his guess was correct. Moreover, even Wu Yuming did not know about this secret. In fact, even Mu Dan and Dongli did not know about it before. The Shang Palace of the Demon City was only responsible for one person, and that was Prince Li Ming. And the entire Sky Demon City was, in fact, a city that completely belonged to the evil ways. The Shang Palace of the Demon City had controlled the economy of the entire human countries for hundreds of years. In these hundreds of years, the Shang Palace of the Demon City had provided an astronomical amount of resources and treasures for the Temple of Annihilation, and the food and meat supplied to the Snake People Empire. They were all provided by the Shang Palace of the Demon City. That's right, the Sky Demon City had been sealed for several years, but the amount of food and meat in their storage was astronomical. In fact, in the Empire of Darkness, any food and meat would not rot at all. Only the heavens knew how many strategic resources the entire Empire of Darkness had stored. Evil ways had failed every time there was an apocalyptic war in the past 1,000 years. However, the Temple of Annihilation had taken a different approach and dominated the world's economy for 1,000 years. Therefore, in the past few hundred years, the Shang Palace of the Demon City was the one who really called the shots and controlled more than half of the world. Whether it was the Tiando League or the evil ways, large-scale transactions, and currency circulation, they were all provided by the Shang Palace of the Demon City. After Yang Dingtian completely unified the human countries, the Shang Palace of the Demon City instantly declined. Not only did it decline, but it was completely deserted, and all transactions stopped. The demon coins that had been circulating for hundreds of years had also become trash. Yang Dingtian had completely sealed off the entire Shang Palace of the Demon City. Therefore, the Sky Demon City went from being the most prosperous city in the world to being the most withered city. Moreover, Yang Dingtian had wanted to completely occupy the Sky Demon City more than once, but he gave up every time. Because he had a vague feeling that this place could not be touched for the time being. As expected, it could not be touched. The Shang Palace of the Demon City was indeed the most important base of the Temple of Annihilation in the human countries, and even the only base. Soon, two streams of light suddenly appeared in the main hall. It was Prince Li Ming and Wolingzi of the Vulture Palace. Everyone knelt down again and said, "Greetings, Prince Li Ming." Even Dong Li had to bow and salute. Only Princess Mu Dan had a calm expression. After Crown Prince Li Ming landed, he immediately looked at Peony, not bothering to hide his deep affection for her. "Dongli, you've worked hard on this trip to the Dark Realm," Li Ming said with a smile. "It's my duty," Dongli said. "I haven't congratulated your highness on your marriage yet." "Ha!" Li Ming laughed. "Oh right, brother, what are your plans regarding Netherworld?" Dongli asked. Li Ming shook his head and said, "Him? He's gone. He's gone. He perished together with the dark matter." Dongli said, "But the Devil Queen can melt the dark matter and rescue Netherworld, can't she? Netherworlds should have been completely suppressed now, or even destroyed." Li Ming shook his head and said, "Even the Devil Queen probably can't save him. An inconceivable change has happened." Dong Li replied, "What about that Ling Wu beside him? She should be in Cloud Heaven City right now. Do you want her to come and participate in your wedding and see how Yang Dingtian is unable to beg for death?" "No need." Li Ming shook his head and said, "She's just a small character. There's no need." Then Li Ming said, "Oh right, how's Dishi Bien?" Dong Li's eyes were filled with shock and said, "I can't believe it. Maybe she'll become the new ruler of the Underworld Empire." At this moment, there was a charming sound in the air. Then, everyone's eyes lit up. Suddenly, there were two beautiful figures in the hall. The Devil Queen and Sect Master Wu Jin. Suddenly, everyone knelt down, including Li Ming and Mu Dan. "Greetings, Your Majesty Devil Queen." "Greetings, Sect Master Wu Jin." Originally, there was no need to kneel to Wu Yu. However, there was no other way. "Sect Master Wu, you seem to have an affair with His Majesty the Demon King." The Devil Queen glanced indifferently and said, "There's still one person missing." Crown Prince Li Ming said, "Who's missing?" "Vulture Palace, Wu Daozi." The Devil Queen said. When these words came out, Wolingzi suddenly trembled. He bowed and said, "Reporting to Your Majesty Devil Queen, Wu Daozi has been killed by Yang Dingnan. No, he has a second-grade evil spirit in his body. Yang Dingtian can't kill him." The Devil Queen said, "He must have been sent to the Death Continent by Yang Dingtian using the void-splitting fire." When these words came out, everyone was stunned. The Devil Queen said, "Dong Li, come with me to look." "Yes, Your Majesty Devil Queen," Dong Li said. Then he released the void-splitting fire, which kept growing bigger and bigger. Finally, a separate space channel suddenly split open, leading directly to the Death Continent, the channel of the Dark World. The Devil Queen jumped and flew directly into the channel of the Dark World. As for Dong Li, she also quickly rushed in. Suddenly, the dark door created by the void-splitting fire disappeared. The Devil Queen and Dongli completely disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. Inside the Death Continent's dark world, Dongli said, "Your Majesty Devil Queen, the void-splitting fire's dark door is random, so we don't know where Wu Daozi will be exiled to." The Devil Queen said, "Although it's random, there's a certain pattern. What level of void-splitting fire is teleported to what level of dark world? Your current cultivation is roughly equivalent to rank 13, which is 2 levels lower than Yang Dingtian. Therefore, Wu Daozi will not be more than 5,000 miles away from us." Then, the Devil Queen and Dongli suddenly flew into the air. Whoosh! The Devil Queen released a Yang Heaven and Earth mystic flame of the Chaos attribute. Then she released a Yin Heaven and Earth mystic flame of the Chaos attribute. After releasing to the extreme, they fiercely collided in the sky. Suddenly, a lightning bolt hundreds of thousands of miles tore through the entire sky. In an instant, the space of hundreds of miles was as bright as day. Within thousands of miles, one could see this resplendent brilliance. Dongli couldn't help but be stunned and said, "Devil Queen, you also know this?" The Devil Queen said with a smile, "Of course I know. Lightning is the unique talent of the Nihility race. Because, among the cultivation techniques we practice, there is the Yin-Yang Chaos formula. Of course, this is a simplified version of the pig-slaying sword technique. Moreover, the highest level is only equivalent to the simplified 4th level of the pig-slaying sword technique." Dongli said, "Now, Yang Dingtian has already learned the 5th level of the pig-slaying sword technique." The Devil Queen said, "Yes, the 5th level of the pig-slaying sword technique, the Great Space Technique. It is the supreme martial Tao that our hidden sect has never come into contact with for generations. Therefore, Yang Dingtian will become a unique person." Wu Daozi had been exiled to the Dark World for more than half a year. However, he felt that it had been decades, or even 100 years. This was a land of complete death. There were hundreds of times the gravity here. In the beginning, he was still desperately exploring, desperately running, wanting to leave this place. He wanted to return to the human countries to take revenge, to kill Yang Dingtian's family, to kill Yang Dingtian's Council of Light, all of them. However, no matter how he ran, he could never reach the end, and he could never escape the darkness. Moreover, the deeper he went, the heavier his body became. In the end, his body actually weighed millions of kilograms, and finally even tens of millions of kilograms. Even if he was a half-saint, he could not bear it at all and had to retreat. Then he found the only light, which was the border of the abyss. He really wanted to jump in, but he clearly knew that he would definitely die if he jumped in. Although he did not know much about the border of the abyss, he had heard a little about it. Any life, even if it was evil spirit energy, would definitely die if they jumped into the border of the abyss. They would directly turn into ashes. After running for a few months, he finally gave up all hope and lay on the edge of the abyss. Day after day, he lived in a drunken stupor, and each day felt like a year. Why was he lying on the edge of the abyss? Because he wanted to commit suicide. There was a second-class evil spirit in his body, so he could not commit suicide even if he wanted to. The only way was to jump into the abyss. However, he was reluctant to die. He felt that he still had hope. However, he had become more and more desperate recently and wanted to jump down more than once. Suddenly, in the distant sky, shocking lightning abruptly erupted. This lightning could be seen at least thousands of miles away. The first thing he thought of was Yang Dingtian. Only Yang Dingtian could burst out such shocking lightning. Suddenly, his fighting spirit soared, and his hatred soared to the sky. "Yang Dingtian, you actually dare to come. I will definitely tear you into pieces. Even if I can't kill you, I will definitely die with you." Suddenly, Wu Daozi madly ran in the direction of the lightning. After a few hours, he arrived at the location of the lightning and saw 2 mermaids. Suddenly, his whole body shot out like a cannonball, and he shouted, "Yang Dingtian, give me your life." However, halfway through, his whole body was suddenly fixed, and he could not move. An incomparably powerful energy instantly locked his whole body. Wudozi, we are here to take you out. The Devil Queen said indifferently. Dongli frowned and looked at Wu Daozi, who was currently as thin as a ghost, and said indifferently, "This is Her Majesty the Devil Queen, why haven't you kneeled to greet her?" Wu Daozi trembled, and then boundless ecstasy welled up. He said, I can go out? I can go out and take revenge?" Then he suddenly knelt down and kowtowed. "Greetings to Her Majesty the Devil Queen. Many thanks to the Devil Queen, many thanks to the Devil Queen." Following that, Wu Daozi raised his head and said, "Your Majesty the Devil Queen, may I ask how Yang Dingtian is now? How is the Vulture Palace?" Dongli said, "After you were exiled, Yang Dingtian invaded the southern barbarian continent. At this time, the Vulture Palace has already become a ruin, and the entire southern barbarian continent has already been occupied." Instantly, Wulingzi was furious. He said, Then what about my granddaughter, Ling Tu?" Dongli said, "She left Yang Dingnan and wandered the world." "Yang Dingnan, just you wait. I will definitely kill your family, your wife, your children, and your Council of Light." Wu Daozi roared fiercely. Dongli said slowly, "That won't be necessary, because Yang Dingtian is now in our hands. He can neither live nor die. Moreover, very soon, there will be no more Yang Dingtian in this world." "Really?" Wu Daozi said with a trembling voice. "Really?" Dongli said, "Once he hands over the greater space technique, he is worthless." Queen Devil Queen glanced at Dongli indifferently. It seemed that with the news of Yang Dingtian being imprisoned, Dongli also appeared arrogant and frivolous. "Let's go back to the Temple of Annihilation." Queen Devil Queen said indifferently. Then, Dongli, Devil Queen, and Wu Daozi walked toward the Door of Darkness in the Skull Hall. A few hours later, they walked to the Door of Darkness. Dongli released the void-splitting fire, and immediately the Door of Darkness turned into nothingness, directly connecting to the Skull Hall outside. The three of them left the dark world of the Death Continent and entered the Skull Hall. Inside, after waiting for less than an hour, a figure immediately came in. At this time, the door of the human kingdom had been occupied by the evil ways again. Then, the three of them quickly rushed out, left the Skull Hall, and entered the Forbidden Continent Sea area. A few hours later, the three of them returned to Sky Demon City and landed in the main hall of the Demon City's Merchant Palace. Then, the owner of the Merchant Palace, Salambas, opened the wall and turned a huge wheel. Suddenly, the entire hall kept falling down, 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 down. They didn't know how deep they fell. Maybe tens of thousands of meters, maybe hundreds of thousands of meters. Finally, the fall stopped. Then, a circular hole suddenly split open in the center of the hall. Below, there was a void, and under the void, there was surging dark matter. Queen Devil Queen took out her magic staff and flew directly into the hole. The primordial Naga eye on the magic staff released a bright light, melting a huge hole in the dark matter. Everyone behind followed closely behind Queen Devil Queen and flew into the hole. They passed through hundreds of miles of dark matter. Suddenly, everyone rushed into the Empire of Darkness. Queen Devil Queen led hundreds of people toward the center of the dark world, flying toward the Skirich imperial capital. Looking at the countless huge dark castles, everyone was suffocating. In the Skirich imperial capital, the demon king Wenian said slowly, "Little brother Yang Dingnan, the bride and guests are all here. The wedding is about to begin." The wedding was about to begin. Chapter 927. Although the experts of the Fox Demon clan were able to leave the Dark Realm thanks to Dongli's rescue, they still despised humans in their hearts. Whether it was the Tyando League or the Evil Ways, in their eyes, it was just child's play. Although they had agreed to come to the Temple of Annihilation to attend the wedding, they had only come with the intention of watching the show. This kind of thought was somewhat extinguished when they saw the Devil Queen and Sect Master Wu Cheng. First of all, they were shocked by the beauty of the Devil Queen and Sect Master Wu Cheng. Even in the Little Western Paradise, their beauty was at the top of the pyramid and could not be matched. Moreover, only a few of them had seen Wu Cheng before. Her status in the Little Western Paradise was very high. Not only that, But the cultivation of the Devil Queen and Wu Cheng also made them lose much of their arrogance. When they entered the Empire of Darkness, their pride and backbone were almost instantly broken. In these huge dark castles, there were countless dark warriors, terrifying dark dragons, and all kinds of terrifying monsters. This level of power, even in the little Western paradise, would be completely destructive. Suddenly, Yao Ming and the others of the Fox Demon clan were filled with reverence and even fear towards the evil ways. As for Wolingzi and Wu Daozi, it was a completely suffocating feeling. Although they were from the evil ways, they were not very excited. The Temple of Annihilation had such a powerful power, which meant that even if they were half-step saints, they would be completely subdued. Under the leadership of the Devil Queen, everyone flew to the Skirich imperial capital that towered between heaven and earth. Immediately, Wolingzi said in a trembling voice, "Devil Queen, is this the Temple of Annihilation?" The Devil Queen said slowly, "The Temple of Annihilation does not have a fixed location. Wherever His Majesty the Demon King is stationed, it is the Temple of Annihilation. Of course, it is a little petty to call it the Temple of Annihilation now. Its current name is the Skirich Imperial Capital." Skirich Imperial Capital? What a domineering name. This meant that the evil ways were no longer limited to just an evil. It was not even limited to the human countries. They were going to dominate the entire chaotic world and the entire world. And the Skirich Imperial Capital in front of them, no matter who saw it, they would feel a burst of suffocation. In this world, how could there be a building that was thousands of miles tall? One couldn't see the top of it and couldn't see the bottom. In front of this magnificent and shocking building of annihilation, anyone would feel incomparable insignificance. Under the leadership of the Devil Queen's lead, everyone slowly entered the imperial capital's imperial capital. It was an incomparably huge hall. Even the Silver Palace's main hall in the Silver Capital of the Little Western Paradise was not even 1/10 of this. Moreover, the ceiling of this imperial capital's imperial capital could not be seen. Suddenly, the Demon King Wentian's voice slowly resounded in the imperial capital. "Today is the most lively day in my Skirich imperial capital. The store is full of guests. It is truly delightful." A gust of dark wind blew past, condensing into a huge figure sitting on the dark throne. This figure was several hundred meters tall. Only 2 eyes could be seen, and they were like raging flames. When these words came out, Wu Yu's delicate body suddenly trembled. Then, Dongli and Li Ming trembled uncontrollably. Then, they directly knelt on the ground, lying motionless. Then, Wolingzi's body trembled like a sieve. He directly knelt on the ground, unable to say a word. In the end, all the second-grade evil spirits, Wu Daozi, Leng Ao, Qiu Ruhen, Shiminju, Gui Wuzi, Salomas, Kong Bao, Aguduan, Zhu Hongyu, Yang Jing, and the others all neatly knelt down. This humble subject kowtows in salute to His Majesty the Demon King. Long live, long live, long live. Yao Ming and the other experts of the Little Western Paradise naturally did not want to kneel. However, the Demon King Wentian's aura instantly enveloped the imperial capital's imperial capital. It was completely like a huge mountain pressing down, causing everyone to instinctively bend their knees. All the experts of the Fox clan knelt down on one knee and said, "Greetings to His Majesty the Demon King." For a moment, only the Devil Queen and Sect Master Wu Jin remained standing in the imperial capital's imperial capital. The Demon King Wentian slowly said, "Everyone, please rise. Li Ming, Thongli, you have worked hard." Prince Li Ming kowtowed and said, "Without your Majesty, there would be no us. You are our God, our Creator. We do not dare to say that we have worked hard." The Demon King Wentian said. Then, everyone present stood up. The Demon King Wentian continued, "Distinguished guests, please have a good rest. 3 days later, it will be an auspicious day. The wedding ceremony will be held in the imperial capital's imperial capital's imperial capital. At the same time, it will also be the war drums for the start of the World Destruction War. At that time, I will confer titles to all the meritorious subjects of the Temple of Annihilation. The countless Legion of Doom will be led by you to destroy the entire Tiando League, rule the entire human countries, and even the entire primal chaos world. As soon as these words were said, many people present were incomparably excited. The people of the evil ways present were at least second-grade evil spirits, and there were no more than 20 of them. This meant that each of them could lead an army of tens of millions. What kind of astonishing power was this? In that case, when the evil ways ruled the entire world in the future, how much land and how many people could each of them be conferred? For example, Qiu Ruhan, Shiminju, and the others were only a few leaders of small and medium-sized forces before. Now, they had suddenly become one of the few great feudal lords in the world. Therefore, how could they not be excited? Gudu Wuhuan even shouted excitedly, "From now on, the evil ways will be the ruler of the entire world. All the people of the world will tremble under our shadow." As soon as he said this, his father, Gudu, glanced at him indifferently and did not say anything. "Piao Ling, bring everyone to rest," the demon king Wenian said. "Yes, your majesty," the devil queen said. Then, she led the hundreds of people present and arranged their rooms. In the Skirich imperial capital, there were countless rooms. Not to mention hundreds of people, even thousands or tens of thousands of people could be accommodated. Suddenly, only the demon king Wenian was left in the entire hall. Oh, there was also Yang Dingtian. He was bound to the dome hundreds of miles above by energy. The demon king Wenian stretched out his hands and extended them until they reached hundreds of miles above. Then he put Yang Dingtian down. Looking at Yang Dingtian's face, he spoke unhurriedly, "Little brother, originally, everything should have happened when you were dead. But you and I are brothers after all. Therefore, I feel that it is better to do it when you are awake." Then, the demon king Wenin carried Yang Dingtian and slowly flew to the dome of the Skirich imperial capital. Then, a stream of energy from his finger drilled into Yang Dingtian's body, and he felt it for a moment. Then, he said, "As expected of Yang Dingtian, as expected of the 9 Yang mystic meridians, as expected of the heaven-defying sea of energy." Even after receiving a saint-level attack from the Mermaid Queen, he still didn't die completely. Then, he silently chanted something like an incantation. He gently raised his hands, and Yang Dingtian's body immediately floated into the air. Then, countless rays of light extended from the dark castle to the Skirich imperial capital. Endless energy surged toward the Skirich imperial capital. This energy was incomparably pure. It was transparent and colorless, but there was a faint green color that was full of vitality. Finally, all the energy condensed above the dome of the Skirich imperial capital. From a complete energy body, it turned into a green ball of light that seemed to have materialized. Whoosh! Finally, this energy ball suddenly drilled into Yang Dingtian's body. Boom! Suddenly, an incomparably bright light burst out from Yang Dingtian's body. Yang Dingtian seemed to have slept for a very, very long time. There were no dreams. It was as if he had completely died. However, he didn't die. There was no evil spirit energy in his body, but there seemed to be an energy that was entwined around his mystic meridians, sea of energy, and mind. He didn't have a heartbeat, and there was no energy flow. It was exactly the same as death. Almost anyone would think that he was dead. However, in reality, he wasn't really dead. This was because his soul and mind hadn't completely left his body and mind, but he couldn't feel it at all. Then, a bright light hit him, and he suddenly woke up. Ah! He suddenly cried out in surprise, and then immediately sat up straight. Then, he desperately turned his head to look at the world around him. The memory in his mind was still the moment when he was struck by the Mermaid Queen's palm. This crazy Mermaid Queen could really do it. She was indeed vicious and merciless. She said that she wanted to kill him, and she really killed him. Yang Dingtian had already encountered 2 people like this. One was Dugufeng Wu, and the other was the crazy Mermaid Queen. However, this time, the Mermaid Queen's attack was much heavier than Dugufeng Wu's. Finally, Yang Dingtian noticed that there was a huge black shadow in front of him. It didn't have a body, and there was nothing. It was just a human silhouette formed by energy. The only thing that could be seen was a pair of flaming eyes. Wenyan? Yang Dingtian said slowly. That's right, it's me. The Demon King Wenyan said slowly. Perhaps you have seen me many times, but in fact, this is the first time we are meeting. Yang Dingun looked around and said, This is the Temple of Annihilation of the Empire of Darkness? Yang Dingun sighed helplessly and said, I still fell into your hands. Yes, I am very happy and honored. The Demon King Wenyan said, After all, you and I are comrades, the child of destiny of the God of Chaos. Yang Dingyan said, You are doing this for the greater spatial technique, right? Yes and no. The Demon King Wenyan said, In fact, the greater spatial technique is only a part of it. Yang Dingun said, Then what else do you want? The Demon King Wenyan said, I want your everything. I want you to become the new Demon King. I want you to become the ruler of this world. Yang Dingun suddenly felt a chill and said, You want to devour me and take over my body? The Demon King Wenyan said, No, the two of us, combine into one and become one. In an instant, Yang Dingtian was completely shocked. Chapter 9:28. Instantly, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but laugh. It's clearly your soul that has taken over my body. It's clearly a possession. Why do you say it's fusing into one person? Wenyan was silent for a moment. Then he said, You know that I transmigrated from Earth. I transmigrated into the body of a quadriplegic youth in the evil ways. His name is Wendian. Yang Dingtian nodded. Wenyan said, May I ask, did I take away his soul and will? For a very long time, our souls coexisted and flourished together. Only when we were forced to, did our souls separate from each other. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but think of the Demon King Wentian's past. It was indeed as he said. Moreover, the current eternal life Wenyan was the soul of that crippled youth. Wentian continued, Also, you should know that my soul has been separated from my body countless times. Moreover, my main soul has already gone to explore the dark realm. As for where my main soul is now, perhaps you know better than me. Therefore, although I have soul convergence, my soul is already very weak. Do you think that I can still suppress your soul? Yang Dingun, then that's very strange. If you can't suppress my soul, how can you guarantee the benefits of the evil ways? Wenyan slowly said, Primordial evil spirit. The moment these words came out, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but tremble. Wenyan said, That's right. What I gave you was not only my soul, my wisdom, my will, but also the primordial evil spirit that I settled down in. Yang Dingun, being suppressed by the evil spirit and becoming a walking corpse, just like Dongli and Mudan? Wu Yuming knew that he would rather die than lose his freedom. He also knew that he would choose to perish together with the evil spirit. Do you think that I would accept becoming a walking corpse? Wenyan was silent for a moment. Then he said, Then do you think that I'm a walking corpse now? Yang Dingtian, because your heart is the same as the evil spirit. You have the same goal. Naturally, it won't suppress your will. Wendian said, Primordial evil spirits are different from first-grade evil spirits. Do you know who the current Queen Devil Queen is? Yang Dingun, of course it's the Devil Queen. No, she is the Void Piao Ling, Wenyan continued. From her memories, to her will, to her love and hatred, they are all Void Piao Ling. At this moment, she is still full of feelings for me and full of pity for you. It was just that she had changed her stance. The evil spirit of the primordial beginning changed her position, but it didn't change her mind. Yang Dingtian's pupils shrank as he recalled the Queen Devil Queen's every move. She was indeed different from Dongli and Mudan. Although Mudan still looked like Dongfang Bingling, she was a complete stranger to Yang Dingtian. As for the Queen Devil Queen, whether it was her tone or her appearance, he could feel that she was still the same Void Piao Ling from before. The Demon King Wenyan said, Therefore, you, Yang Dingtian, are still the same Yang Dingtian. No one will suppress or control your will. It's just that your stance has changed. You have changed from the spokesperson of the God of Chaos to the enemy of the God of Chaos. Yang Dingun, Then, do I still have to control countless Legion of Doom to destroy the entire human countries and wipe out the Council of Light Legion? The Demon King went in, shook his head and said, "No, it's precisely because you want to avoid the Doomsday battle that you have to agree to become the new Demon King. Come, I'll bring you to take a look." Then the Demon King went in, brought Yang Dingtian and flew up. Suddenly, they flew to the top of the Skirich imperial capital, thousands of miles above, overlooking the entire Empire of Darkness. With one glance, Yang Dingtian was completely suffocated. The Empire of Darkness, which spanned tens of thousands of miles, had countless giant dark castles. Every dark castle was a city that spanned hundreds of miles. Countless energy tentacles connected these giant castles to the Empire of Darkness. In every giant castle, there was a huge energy array. In every giant castle, there was an astronomical number of Legion of Doom. 4 to 5 meters tall giant warriors. Thousands of meters tall dark dragons spewed out astonishing flames and heaven-defying lightning. Tens of thousands of meters long dark earth dragons with countless teeth could devour everything. Astronomical numbers. Densely packed dark shadow dragons were as fast as lightning and spewed fatal poison. And so on and so forth. On every giant castle, there were millions of Legion of Doom. And in the entire Empire of Darkness, there were countless such giant castles. Yang Dingun was really suffocated. He had guessed that the Legion of Doom would be very, very powerful, but he had never thought that it would be so powerful. Originally, he had thought that he could take the Mermaid Queen and make the entire Sea Clan army change sides, instantly completing the reversal. Now, it seemed that this was how naive he was. The Legion of Doom didn't need the help of the Sea Clan army to destroy the human countries. "How's my Legion of Doom?" When Tian asked. "Invincible." Yang Dingtian said, "Compared to this, my Council of Light Legion is simply a child's toy. In fact, just 1 or 2 giant castles can sweep through the entire human countries and destroy the entire Council of Light army." When Tian said, "Therefore, the Doomsday War is not worth mentioning to me. What I want is not to win the Doomsday War at all. What I want is you." Yang Dingun was silent for a long time before saying, "May I ask, where did this Empire of Darkness and this Legion of Doom come from? Were you the one who created them?" When Tian said, "Little brother, you think too highly of me. I'm just a discoverer, a successor. This Empire of Darkness is an ancient ruin that has existed for a very, very long time. Maybe tens of thousands of years, maybe hundreds of thousands of years, maybe even longer. I just happened to discover it." Yang Dingtian said, "Then, was the primordial evil spirit also discovered in this place?" When Tian said, "This is directly related to the Empire of Darkness, but that's another story. When you completely inherit and possess the primordial evil spirit, you will know." Yang Dingtian didn't say anything. He was completely shocked by this doomsday army of darkness. When Tian continued, "I first excavated the eye of the primordial Naga. After passing through the incomparably thick darkness matter, I discovered the ruins of the Empire of Darkness. You can't understand the shock in my heart at that time. So, in an instant, the Doomsday War, life and death, it was not important. Hence, I started to plan everything. I had the power to declare war on the God of Chaos." Yang Dingun, you want to save the human countries? You want to prevent the Doomsday War from happening? Very simple. You just have to become the new Demon King. When Tian slowly said, "At that time, you will still be the ruler of the Tiando League, the ruler of the entire human race. In the future, you will become the ruler of the entire primal chaos world. You will be the ruler of the entire world. Compromising in order to save the world is not shameful." The Demon King Wendian finally said. Yang Dingtian was silent for a long time. Then he said, "However, the only way you can challenge the God of Chaos is to perish together with him. You feel that the God of Chaos is controlling your fate, killing your family, your children, and destroying your soul. So, you have to perish together with him." "Perish together?" The Demon King Wentian's eyes shrunk. He said, "Who told you that I have to perish together?" Yang Dingun said, "Isn't that the case?" Even if you control the Empire of Darkness, the Little Western Paradise, and the Underworld Empire. Moreover, you want to use my greater space technique to completely release Nunaga. That way, you will once again walk the path of crazy pursuit of energy, the path of ultimate strength. At that time, you will directly cause the Primal Chaos world to lose balance and cause another Doomsday War. The Primal Chaos world has already experienced several Doomsday Wars, but if another one happens, it will definitely be the last one. At that time, the last continent of life will be destroyed. The Primal Chaos world will be completely destroyed, and the God of Chaos will naturally die as well. This is your method of perishing together. The Demon King went in, looked at Yang Dingtian for a long time, and then he said, a very direct method. Using this method, you can indeed directly destroy the God of Chaos and perish together with him. But Yang Ding, perhaps I am not so narrow-minded. Is that so? Yang Dingtian asked, puzzled. Yes. The Demon King went in and said, look at this world of darkness. What do you think it is? It is the world of darkness. Yang Dingtian said. The Demon King went in and said, don't you think it is like Noah's Ark after the destruction of the world? These huge castles, don't they look like Noah's Ark? The world of darkness is not a product of destruction, but a product of salvation. When these words came out, Yang Dingtian was completely shocked. Wendian continued, why is the Empire of Darkness in the heart of the dark matter? You also know that the dark matter is the symbol of the death of the Primal Chaos world, but in the heart of the dark matter, there is a void. Inside is the rebirth after death. The Empire of Darkness is the product of the rebirth after the death of the Primal Chaos world. This is a kind of life after death. Therefore, the Empire of Darkness is a precious legacy left behind by the ancient civilization. It is the only hope for the continuation of the Primal Chaos world civilization. Yang Dingun was truly astonished and had been turned upside down. Wenyan said, do you think that as long as the great Nirvana extinction is avoided, the last Primal Chaos world can be preserved? Can it avoid destruction? You are very clear that under the sea, under the ground, the dark matter is constantly spreading, constantly devouring all life. Even if the great Nirvana extinction is avoided, this Primal Chaos world will die sooner or later. Maybe in 1,000 years, 5,000 years, or even 10,000 years, the last Primal Chaos world will die sooner or later. Only here in the Empire of Darkness is true eternal life. Eternal life? Yang Dingtian sneered and said, your countless dark castles and huge energy arrays, where does their energy come from? Isn't it completely devouring the energy of the Devil Domain, the Yin-Yang Mirror, and the world of ice and snow? The Empire of Darkness itself is accelerating the death of these 3 continents. Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous. Wenyan said loudly, that's right, the Yin-Yang Mirror, the Devil Domain, and the world of ice and snow, these 3 continents have become like this because of the Empire of Darkness. However, the Empire of Darkness is definitely not letting them die. The entire Empire of Darkness is a kind of energy balance. The Yin-Yang Mirror has the Primal Chaos attribute, the Devil Domain has the Yang attribute, and the world of ice and snow has the Yin attribute. These 3 types of energy balance each other, growing and multiplying endlessly, never ending. Yang Dingtian sneered and said, what you are saying is that the energy of these 3 continents will cycle forever, never ending? That's right. Wendian said. Ridiculous. Yang Dingtian said, then where does the energy of the Legion of Doom come from? The Demon King Wendian said loudly, can't you see that all the Legion of Doom is pure energy? They can be shattered and they can be reformed. Every individual of the Legion of Doom is closely related to the Castle of Darkness, the Empire of Darkness, the Devil Domain, the world of ice and snow, and the Yin-Yang Mirror. They are a balance. The Legion of Doom doesn't eat, doesn't cultivate, and is just a body of energy. Therefore, this is a whole body where energy is constantly circulating. This is the eternal direction of the martial arts civilization of the Primal Chaos world. Only the Empire of Darkness is the ultimate way to avoid the end of the world, the ultimate way to continue the civilization of the primal chaos world. Therefore, this is not the Empire of Darkness at all, but the Noah's Ark of the primal chaos world. Yang Dingtian said, "What you mean is, after the dark matter completely devours the entire world, some of the people in the human countries will be led to the Empire of Darkness, turning them into energy creatures, never eating or drinking, and always circulating energy. Just like the robots on modern Earth?" "That's right, that's it." Wenian said, "The humans on Earth crazily want to take all the resources of the natural environment. The people of the primal chaos world crazily want to take Xian-Qi energy from nature. And here, all the energy is circulating. Of course, you might hate this Empire of Darkness, it's pitch black. But don't worry, you can completely rebuild it and make it bright and beautiful. You can even create rivers, mountains, green trees, and red flowers. The energy civilization of the Empire of Darkness can create anything." Yang Dingun said, "All right, since that's the case, I want to ask you something. In the Vitality continent, the dark matter devours everything. That's just the initial state, the appearance of the continent after it started to die. It's the first dark domain, second dark domain, third dark domain, and even fourth dark domain. Do you think this Empire of Darkness can survive there?" Wenian was silent for a moment, then shook his head and said, "I don't know, so this is your mission. My wisdom, my knowledge, can only last until here, so the rest is up to you." Then, the Demon King Wenian brought Yang Dingtian back to the main hall of the Skirich Emperor's capital. He said slowly, "You have about 3 days to consider, agree or reject me. Of course, no matter if you agree or reject, the result will be the same. You and I will become one, and you will become the new Demon King, the Emperor of the Empire of Darkness, the ruler of the human countries. But because you and I are of the same race, I want to respect your will." Then, the Demon King Wenian instantly disappeared. In the entire main hall, only Yang Dingtian was left. Chapter 929. What would Yang Dingtian choose to do? Even a fool would know that it would be a rejection. Although these words all sounded very reasonable. For example, Yang Dingtian wanted to become the new Demon King in order to prevent the world extermination war and the human kingdoms from being plunged into misery and suffering. For example, the Empire of Darkness was not to destroy the world, but to save the world. It was the Noah's Ark of the entire chaos world. For example, turning life energy into energy was the only way for the future of civilization to live forever. And so on and so forth. All of these sounded very tempting, especially since Yang Dingtian had the primordial evil spirit. This way, he would only change his position, but he would still have his own will. He would still be Yang Dingtian. Moreover, he would still be the savior of the human world and the monarch of the Empire of Darkness. How tempting did all of this sound? The Tiando League and the evil ways would be completely unified. But there were only 2 questions. Why did you prepare so many Legion of Doom if not to destroy the world? In order to prevent the destruction of the world, Yang Dingtian chose to compromise. Then what was the difference between this and the theory of some shameless traitors in China? They said that since the Japanese army was so strong, in order to avoid unnecessary casualties, it was better to surrender. That's right, life was precious. However, only a free life was precious. Also, Wenian had repeatedly said that energy-based life forms were the eternal theme, the eternal of the martial path. Yang Dingtian did not want to refute this proposition. In fact, this proposition was too big. Even on Earth, many people suggested that the ultimate state of human civilization was a spiritual life and an energy life. But, even if that was the case, it would require a very, very slow and natural evolution process. Even the new Naga understood this point. The future Naga had to first achieve a spiritual breakthrough before they could talk about the change of the entire civilization. Like this, they would directly capture humans and transform them into energy life forms. What was the difference between that and death to humans? For the time being, humans could not eat, drink, sleep, love, or hate. What was the difference between them and a walking corpse or a robot? If a person lived like a robot, there would be no meaning to it. To put it in extreme terms, if the humans were to end up like the Legion of Doom, then it would be better for them to fight vigorously, even if they were all wiped out in the end. Hence, although Wentian's words sounded logical, they were all ridiculous and not even worth refuting. Therefore, what he needed to do now was to fight back. How to reverse the situation in the face of adversity, or even despair? Yang Dingtian walked around the huge temple of annihilation and arrived in front of the throne of darkness. At this moment, this throne was undoubtedly the ruler of the entire world. However, Yang Dingtian didn't care about it at all. It was just like Arthas in World of Warcraft. He ruled the undead empire, which was filled with zombies and ghouls. No matter how great his authority was, it was meaningless. Yang Dingtian walked to the entrance of the main hall, where he could neither ascend nor descend. Looking at the endless void, he really had the urge to jump down and fly. However, it was a pity that Yang Dingtian's Xian meridians were completely sealed, so he couldn't fly. Whoosh! Suddenly, a beautiful figure flew out of a window in the Skirich imperial capital. Then she soared into the sky. This figure had incomparably seductive curves, and the pair of demonic wings on her back was especially seductive. Yang Dingtian couldn't recognize who this person was. However, this beautiful figure immediately discovered Yang Dingtian. She suddenly let out a cry unique to demons, and then whistled into the main hall. Then she slowly said in an incomparably cold and hateful tone, "Yang Ding, how have you been?" Yang Dingtian was startled when he saw this face that was so beautiful that it was suffocating. It wasn't inferior to the Devil Queen's dead concubine's face. He almost couldn't recognize it. However, he soon recognized her. Vulture? It's actually Vulture? Yang Dingun was incomparably shocked. Although Vulture was beautiful, it was at most 1 in 1,000 and was on the same level as Qin Jiaojiao. Compared to Yen Yen and Ning Ro, it was far inferior. The current Vulture's threatening beauty had directly overshadowed Ling Wu, who possessed a second-grade evil spirit. He was almost on par with the Queen of the Sea Heart, the Devil Queen's deceased concubine, and Princess Peony. Although it was still the same face, the outline had become so distinct. Her eyes had become so seductive, her lips had become as red as fire, and the bridge of her nose had become so three-dimensional and towering. It was as though the heavens had reshaped her face on a piece of jade. It wasn't just her face, even her figure had undergone an absolute transformation. Her devilish curves had almost overshadowed all the women Yang Dingtian had seen. Previously, she had always despised herself for being too flat, but now, she wasn't inferior to Wu Maji at all. However, she actually didn't have legs anymore. Instead, she had the hooves of a devil and a long devil's tail grew from her waist. You didn't expect that I would actually complete such a transformation, right? Vulture said coldly. However, I still have to thank you for torturing me and fulfilling my wish. Thank you for not sleeping with me back then, so that I wouldn't be foolish and fall into the abyss with you. If I had left with you back then, I wouldn't have such a gorgeous transformation today. Vulture stroked her face narcissistically and said complacently, "Why? I'm more beautiful than your wives, right? Moreover, I'm much, much stronger than them. Don't worry, I'll return the harm you've done to me back to your wives and children 10-fold, no, 100-fold. I'll make them suffer hellish pain." Immediately, Vulture waved her hand. Huff! Suddenly, one of the dark dragons outside shattered, turning into countless strands of energy that surged into the hall. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Then, under Vulture's control, this huge dragon instantly turned into thousands of huge poisonous snakes and completely surrounded Yang Dingtian in an instant. The terrifying poisonous snakes coiled around him coldly and opened their bloody mouths at him, revealing their sharp fangs. You probably never thought that this day would come. Vulture sneered, you don't have the slightest ability to fight back in front of me. I can easily crush you to death. Under Vulture's control, countless poisonous snakes licked Yang Dingtian's face with their tongues and said slowly, don't worry, I can't bear to kill you so quickly. I'll soon become the Demon King's wife. When that time comes, I'll definitely make you beg for death. I'll make all the people in the human countries who have hurt me, who have mocked me, I'll make them beg for death. Yang Dingtian suddenly remembered Wu Yoming's words. He must kill Vulture, otherwise the consequences would be unimaginable. In the end, Yang Dingtian did not kill Vulture in order not to anger Wu Lingzi. Instead, he imprisoned him in the torn space. It was very strange. The evil ways did not have spatial techniques, so how could they rescue Vulture? Did you hear that? This is what it means to be bullied by dogs. Suddenly, Queen Devil Queen's voice sounded in the air. She said slowly, Yang Dingen, are you willing to see a villain succeed? Then, Queen Devil Queen's beautiful figure appeared in the main hall and said, Shura, let go of Yang Dingen. Vulture was instinctively afraid, then raised his head and said, Why should I listen to you? Now we're in the same position. Queen Devil Queen looked at Vulture and said, Yes, you're in the same position as me. We're both the Demon King's wives, both Devil Queen. However, you've offended your future master. He will be the new Demon King. As soon as she said this, Vulture's expression changed instantly and he said in shock, No, no, impossible, impossible. Queen Devil Queen said, You saw it too. His Majesty the Demon King is just a shadow. He will give the evil spirit of the primordial evil spirit, his cultivation, and the throne of darkness to Yang Dingtian. The two of them will become one. I can't do anything to you, but His Majesty the Demon King can easily decide your life and death. The beautiful Shura Vulture's face instantly turned pale. She had never thought that she would become such a powerful and devastatingly beautiful demon Shura after going through so much trouble. She originally thought that she could trample Yang Dingtian under her feet, but Yang Dingtian had become the new Demon King, her true master. Could it be that he was destined to oppress her forever? If I were you, I would kneel down and beg for mercy while it's still not too late. While he's still Yang Dingtian, still that soft-hearted little boy. When he becomes the new Demon King, his heart will be as hard as iron, and everything will be too late, Queen Devil Queen said. Suddenly, Vulture's expression changed unpredictably. One moment it was full of anger, the next it was full of compromise. In the end, she suddenly knelt down and kowtowed. Big brother Yang Dingtian, I was wrong. Please forgive me. Don't lower yourself to my level. I think you have to do more. You have to do the most lowly thing a woman can do, Queen Devil Queen said. Vulture's delicate body trembled. Then she gritted her teeth and crawled over, begging for Yang Dingtian's forgiveness in the most lowly way. Yang Dingtian blocked her forehead and said, No, no need. Okay, you can go back, Queen Devil Queen said. Suddenly, Vulture summoned countless black snakes in the hall, and they disappeared without a trace. She took a deep look at Yang Dingtian, and then quickly flew out. Did you see that? This is power, Queen Devil Queen said. This is the power of the Demon King. One moment in heaven, one moment in hell. If you are Yang Dingtian, Shura Vulture will completely trample you under her feet and madly take revenge on your family. If you are His Majesty Demon King, she will kneel in front of you and lick any trace of dust on your shoes. Yang Dingtian looked at Devil Queen and said slowly, The Demon King said that I can still call you Nihility Piao Ling. Devil Queen nodded and said, I have always been. Yang Dingtian, then, do you still remember what you said before you demonized? I beg you, save me, save Bing Ling, right? Queen Devil Queen said. Yes, Yang Dingtian, since you still remember this sentence, do you still insist on it? Queen Devil Queen nodded. Yang Dingtian, since you insist, isn't it ridiculous for you to persuade me to compromise now? You want me to defeat the evil spirit, but you want me to stay dormant? Queen Devil Queen said, If you don't come into contact with the evil spirit, you don't even dare to face it directly. How can you talk about defeating it? How can you save me and Bingling? Yang Dingtian, you mean if I want to become a Buddha, I have to become a demon first. If I want to destroy the evil spirit, I want to feed the tiger with my body, right? Yes, Queen Devil Queen said. As a person, it is important to know one's own limits, Yang Dingtian said slowly. The current me knows almost nothing about the evil spirit, and I want to feed the tiger? Become a demon? You are a very good lobbyist, but your position has changed, so you have become less persuasive. Queen Devil Queen looked at Yang Dingtan indifferently, then looked deeply at Yang Dingan. Remember, no matter what, there will be a wedding in 3 days. It will either be yours, or Li Ming and Mu Dan's. Think carefully. Then Queen Devil Queen turned and left. Time passed in a flash. The 3rd day soon arrived. The Demon King went in and asked Yang Dingtian, "How is it? Have you thought it through? What's your choice?" Yang Dingtian said directly, "I refuse." The Demon King went in and said, "You should know that even if you refuse, it's meaningless. You can't change anything." Yang Dingtian nodded and said, "I know, but I still refuse. At least it can represent my will." The Demon King went in and said, "If you refuse me, I will be sad. Not only will this not change the fact that you and I will be together, I will also do something that will make you sad." Yang Dingnan, betrothed Dongfang Bingling to Prince Li Ming, right? The Demon King went in and nodded and said, "Yes, I am also a person with emotions. I have given almost everything to you, and you have repaid me like this. Therefore, even if it is a small revenge, I will do it. I am not a person who is very scheming and likes to endure silently." "Neither am I," Yang Dingtian said. The Demon King went in and said, "Promise that Mu Dan will not marry Li Ming. She will become your 6th bride. Your refusal will not change anything, but Mu Dan will marry Li Ming." Yang Dingnan, "I refuse." The Demon King went in and said, "You don't care about Mu Dan anymore?" Yang Dingnan, "I am just going all out. I am going all out. All my care has become indifference. All my indifference has become caring." The Demon King went in and said slowly, "What you are unwilling to give up is your dignity and will, right? You are unable to put down your dignity and become one with me. You are unable to deny the path you have walked before, so you are unable to change your position, right? Most importantly, you are unable to accept becoming one with me and being unable to share everything with me, right?" Yang Dingtian smiled noncommittally. The Demon King went in and said slowly, "All right, then watch how I abandon my dignity and ask for your inheritance. My beloved woman, Nihility Piao Ling, can be given to you first and marry you first. There is also the Mermaid Queen, Wu Yu, Shura Vulture, and Queen Hai Xin. If you marry them first, it means that they are marrying Yang Dingtian and not some Demon King. After they become your women, you and I will not fuse. You only need to accept the primordial evil spirit. You will become the complete Demon King, and I will let myself vanish into thin air. Is that okay?" After saying that, the Demon King sighed heavily. Chapter 930. Yang Dingtian smiled. Even the most important thing had already been decided. There was no point in debating on such minor details. Yang Dingtian knew that regardless of whether he agreed or not, the wedding would still proceed. Moreover, it had to be done as Yang Dingtian. Because perhaps only the independent and complete Yang Dingtian could allow Wuyu and Hai Xian to successfully give birth to a half-god's descendant. Of course, that included the Mermaid Queen. Therefore, Yang Dingtian's attitude was meaningless. Of course, there were 5 brides. How many would be in the bridal chamber at the end? The Mermaid Queen and Yang Dingtian had already done what was supposed to happen. However, in order to ensure the success of the pregnancy, they would still have the most intimate relationship. As for the Queen Devil Queen, according to Yang Dingtian's guess, she might be in the wedding. However, there was no need to think about the bridal chamber for the time being. The Shura Vulture, in between, might or might not be the bridal chamber. Seeing Yang Dingtian's reaction, Wen Yin said, "All right, this matter is settled then." Then, his figure disappeared into thin air. The bell in the Tongtian imperial capital rang. Then, hundreds of guests appeared in the main hall on flying dragons. They were dressed in gorgeous clothes. Hundreds of maids from the Demon City's merchant palace had become the maids of the Tongtian imperial capital. They shuttled back and forth in the main hall. The incomparably huge main hall had changed completely. All the gloomy darkness had disappeared. It was completely dazzling and brightly lit. Countless energy chandeliers floated in the main hall. Countless bright flowers and gorgeous tables were filled with all the delicacies that could be found in this world. Good wine, fresh fruits, and fresh fruits. Just the wine alone exceeded hundreds of types. Beautiful maids shuttled back and forth. All the guests had prepared incomparably gorgeous clothes. Moreover, the clothes were very strange. At least for the people of this world, it was very strange. All the men were wearing suits, tuxedos, ties, and bow ties. All the women were wearing gorgeous dresses and long skirts. That's right, they were all clothes from Earth. Without a doubt, it was personally designed by the Demon King Wenyan. But it was strange that he had designed the dress in such a Western style. Of course, if one had a little understanding, they would be able to tell that these dresses had a strong style of the former Soviet Union movies, especially the War and Peace. Therefore, these dresses had a strong 19th century European style. Of course, the fox demons of the Little Western Paradise, whose civilization was already very prosperous, easily accepted this new style of clothing. They even started to like it. As for the people of the human countries, the women easily accepted this gorgeous and sexy long dress, but the men found it difficult to accept this brand new dress. They felt awkward and uncomfortable all over. Wentian's actions weren't limited to this. All the fine wines here were stored in glass bottles, and all the wine glasses were crystal clear. It was said that transmigrators had 3 inventions: glass, cement, and explosives. Now, the explosives were in Yang Dingtian's hands. Therefore, the Demon King Wenyan made glass. However, his glass discovery was obviously only used this time. Hundreds of beautiful maids carried crystal plates with more than a dozen goblets filled with all kinds of wine. They shuttled through the crowd, asking if they wanted wine. And on the countless gourmet tables, the hot food was kept warm with the energy of crystals. Refrigeration, sashimi, and so on were kept fresh with ice crystals. On the dining table, there were chopsticks, knives, and forks. This was a large and luxurious buffet on Earth. It didn't look like a different world at all. It was still the Demon Fox clan of the Little Western Paradise. They easily accepted this method. In fact, the buffet method had been popular in the Little Western Paradise for a long time. Therefore, after a slight shock, they began to enjoy the delicious food and wine here. The Demon King Wenyan, who was romantic, even arranged a large band. Hundreds of musicians in formal clothes played various movements with instruments from the primal chaos world and Earth. Of course, most of them were movements from Earth, and they were all very famous tunes. There were Beethoven's and Kunku operas. Perhaps he had been preparing for this day for a long time. In the incomparably lonely years, other than operating the Empire of Darkness, the rest was only waiting. These bands, these clothes, perhaps they were all works of his waiting time. Li Ming was very excited. He was wearing an incomparably gorgeous dress, and he was in a nervous and excited complex. Being able to marry Dongfang Bingling was his dream. However, it was also possible that when the wedding began, Dongfang Bingling would choose to commit suicide in her soul and spirit. Of course, the so-called suicide of the soul was to completely give up all resistance and let the first-class evil spirit completely occupy and suppress it. And her own soul would be completely imprisoned and eternally silent. Therefore, all he could do was to keep drinking. Then he faced Wolingzi, Wu Daozi, and many people's congratulations and flattery. The entire banquet had been going on for about 2 hours. The band's songs suddenly became passionate and passionate. Everyone instinctively quieted down. Although they didn't know what song it was, they instinctively felt that a big shot was about to arrive. Music had no borders, not even the barriers of civilization. The Demon King Wendian had appeared. He was even wearing a black ceremonial robe and a hat, even though he was just a shadow without a body. Immediately, everyone had to kneel down. No need. The Demon King Wendian said, "Today is the wedding celebration, so there's no need to kneel." Then, the Demon King Wentian's flaming gaze swept across everyone present. In the entire hall, including the band, the maids, and the guests, there were already over 1,000 people. "I've been waiting for this day for many years." The Demon King Wendian said slowly, "This day is the greatest day in the history of the Chaos world. On this day, 2 civilizations have a great collision." When these words came out, all the demon fox experts raised their wine cups to show their respect. Of course, they didn't understand. They thought that Wenyan was talking about the collision between the demon fox race and the human race. In fact, Wenyan was talking about the collision between the earth and the chaos world. Today's wedding represents the end of an old era and also the birth of a new era. Then, Wentian's black shadow condensed a wine cup and raised it high. Let us bid farewell to yesterday and embrace tomorrow. Cheers. Wentian drank it in one gulp. He didn't have a body, so of course, he couldn't drink it in one gulp. However, all the wine had indeed disappeared into his shadow. And below the cup, all the guests, whether it was the demon fox race or the ministers of evil ways, all of them drank it in one gulp. In their hearts, they felt that the wedding of Crown Prince Li Ming and Mu Dan was naturally not the greatest day. However, when the World Extermination War started, it was definitely a great day. Hence, they were all celebrating the start of the World Extermination War. In fact, whether it was Qiu Ruhan, Wulingzi, or Wulingzi, all of them were cheering in their hearts. They were excited about the end of the Council of Light, the end of Yang Dingtian. Not only them, even Lung Ao, Gudu Wuhuan, Zhu Hongyu, and the others were all congratulating Yang Dingtian. They were incomparably excited, waiting for the start of the World Extermination War. After that, they would lead the Legion of Doom and charge towards the human race, dealing a devastating blow to the high and mighty Council of Light, Yang Dingtun. Let us welcome the true main character of tonight, His Excellency Yang Dingtun. The Demon King Wentian shouted. All the guests were stunned. How did Yang Dingtian become the main character? But soon after, they laughed. This was a mockery from the Demon King Wentian, wasn't it? The World Extermination War was about to begin, and the human race was about to be destroyed. As the supreme leader of the human race, Yang Dingtian didn't prepare for war. Instead, he became a prisoner. Was there anything more ironic than this in the world? A burst of intense drumming sounded. Then, all the energy lights in the hall gathered in one place. In an instant, the entire hall fell into darkness. Only one place was bright. Under the convergence of countless lights, everyone saw a figure. Yang Dingtian's figure. He was wearing a white tuxedo, and there was even a rose pinned to it. His Excellency Yang Dingnan, please come up, the Demon King Wentian said. Yang Dingtian took large strides and walked up the stairs step by step. And all the drumbeats followed his footsteps. All the lights were still gathered on his figure. Everyone had an illusion that the main character of tonight was really Yang Dingtian. Soon, Yang Dingtian walked to the front of the throne of darkness and to the side of the Demon King Wentian. Demon King Wentian was originally a black shadow that was several hundred meters tall. At this moment, he condensed his figure and became as tall as Yang Dingtian. At this moment, the lights began to separate into two beams. One beam shone on Wentian's body, and the other on Yang Dingtian's body. His Excellency Yang Dingtian, what are your thoughts about tonight's wedding banquet? The Demon King Wentian asked. Yang Dingnan, I don't have time to think about other things. But I have two thoughts. The clothes are beautiful, and the food is delicious. Thank you, it's my great honor to satisfy you. The Demon King Wentian bowed and smiled. Following that, Demon King Wentian continued, what do you think about the upcoming world-ending war? If he erupts, what do you think? By the way, everyone below you will basically become the commanders and generals of the Legion of Doom. They will lead the invincible Legion of Doom and completely shatter this old world. Then, they will lead the entire civilization of the Chaos world to a new world, resist the tyranny of the God of Chaos, resist the evil rule of the body of Chaos. Yang Dingtian didn't have any response to this statement. The Demon King Wentian said, then, do you want the apocalyptic war to break out? Yang Dinggun shook his head and said, of course not. The Demon King Wentian said, then do you have any way to stop the apocalyptic war from breaking out? Yang Dingtian, not at the moment. Of course, I'm hoping that your Majesty Demon King will find your conscience. You clearly know that's not the answer I want to know. The Demon King Wentian smiled. Then he raised his finger and pointed at the crowd. Finally, it landed on Wulingzi. Immediately, a light condensed on Wulingzi's body. At the same time, Wulingzi's figure appeared on a huge reflection jade. "Your Excellency Wulingzi of the Vulture Palace, right?" the Demon King went in and said. Immediately, Wulingzi knelt on the ground. "This sinner Wulingzi kowtows in salute to your Majesty Demon King. Long live the Demon King. If the apocalyptic war breaks out, you will become the commander of the southernmost war zone of the Legion of Doom. In the future, the entire southernmost land, the City of Gold, and the Snow Clan will be your territory." The Demon King went in and said, "Do you have anything to say?" "For your Majesty Demon King, I will do my best until my death," Wulingzi said with a trembling voice. The Demon King said, "Do you have anything to say to Yang Dingtan?" Wulingzi gritted his teeth and said, "Kill all 9 generations, leave no one alive." "Very good." The Demon King went in, smiled, and pointed at Wu Dozi. "Your Excellency Wu Dozi of the Vulture Palace, after the apocalyptic war begins, you will become the commander of the Southern War Zone. Crack City, Cloud Sky Pavilions, Ingzhou Continent, South Central Continent, and South Barbarian Continent will all be your territory. You can inherit it for thousands of years. Then, do you have anything to say to Yang Dingtian?" Wu Daozi knelt down and said, "Yang Dingtian's entire clan, skin them alive and tear their bones apart, kill them all." The Demon King went in, pointed at Leng Ao's head and said, "This is Leng Ao from the Yinyang School, right?" Leng Ao knelt down and said, "Leng Ao greets your Majesty Demon King." The Demon King went in and said, "You are the most senior person from the Eastern Cloud Continent. Therefore, you will become the commander of the Legion of Doom's Eastern Cloud Continent. In the future, the entire Eastern Cloud Continent, including the Yinyang School, will become your territory. Do you have anything to say to Yang Dingtan?" Leng Ao said slowly, "Kill them all, cut the weeds and dig up the roots." The Demon King went in and said, "Madam Qiu Ruhen, you will become the commander of Northwest Qin City's war zone. In the future, Northwest Qin City, Autumn Water Sword Sect, and White Cloud City will all become your territory. Then, do you have anything to say?" Qiu Ruhen said. Qiu Ruhen gritted her teeth and said, "Yang Dingtian's entire clan, the men will be slaves and the women will be prostitutes. For generations, they will never rise again." "Good, good, good." The Demon King went in and said, "Just based on your words, Shijing will also become your territory." "Thank you, Your Majesty Demon King." Qiu Ruhen immediately prostrated herself on the ground. The Demon King went in, smiled, and said, "Your Excellency Yang Ding, did you hear that? Their hatred for you is very strong." "Yeah, they're not very friendly to me," Yang Dingtian said. The Demon King went in and said, "They hate you so much. If the world destruction war breaks out, how will you save yourself and your family?" Yang Dingtian was about to speak when the Demon King went in and stopped him and said, "You don't have to speak, because you don't have the strength to stop it. You're too weak." Then, the Demon King Wentian's expression became serious and said, "I officially announce. The groom of this wedding is Your Excellency Yang Ding. After the wedding, Your Excellency Yang Dingtian will become the new Demon King, the new ruler of the entire world." The moment these words came out, everyone was shocked like thunder. Chapter 931. The entire hall suddenly fell into a deathly silence. Everyone was unable to react in time. Immediately after, many people began to look at each other, wondering if they had heard wrongly. Yang Dingtian was clearly the greatest enemy of the evil ways. He was clearly the spokesperson of the God of Chaos. Everything that the Demon King had said, everything that the Temple of Annihilation had done, wasn't it all to eliminate Yang Dingtian? Now, it was finally time to reap the rewards. Yang Dingtian was about to be completely destroyed, about to completely fall into hell. Unexpectedly, there was such a huge reversal. And Prince Li Ming was undoubtedly the one who suffered the greatest blow. All of his expressions instantly froze. The Demon King went in said with a smile, "Perhaps many people will think that I'm joking, right?" Everyone nodded with all their might, desperately hoping that this was just a joke. Even though that would lower the Demon King style, it was better than this reversal. The Demon King Wentian's aura suddenly became incomparably serious and he said, "I'm very sorry, this is not a joke, but a fact." Immediately, Wu Daozi and Wolingzi almost fainted. "Your Majesty Demon King, is this torture?" First, he made Wolingzi, Wu Daozi, Qiu Ruhan, and Leng Ao declare that they wanted to exterminate Yang Dingtian's family, and even said that they would become slaves in the south and prostitutes in the women for generations to come, and that they would never be able to rise again. Now, he directly made Yang Dingtian the new Demon King. Then, wasn't that the same as making Qiu Ruhan, Leng Ao, and the others die without a burial place? Wu Daozi was still more unyielding. He mustered up his courage and said, Did His Excellency Yang Dingtian surrender? Did he also kneel at your feet? So, are you going to make him your successor? Hearing this, Prince Li Ming's expression became even more unsightly. The reason why he was called Prince Li Ming was because he was the first successor of the Demon King. Now, Yang Dingtian was said to be the successor. How could he accept this? The Demon King Wenian shook his head and said, "No, I have not listed Yang Dingtian as my successor or successor." Many people heaved a sigh of relief when they heard this. The Demon King Wentian said, "He is my replacement. After the wedding, it might be tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. He would take over the entire empire of darkness and control the evil spirits. Not only will he be the ruler of the empire of darkness, but he will also be the leader of the human kingdoms. In the future, he will even be the ruler of many planes, including the Naga Empire." When these words came out, everyone present was suffocated. The Demon King Wentian said, "You didn't hear wrong, I'm not crazy. The reason for this is because His Excellency Yang Dingtian has a broader mind and a broader vision than me. Only he can lead everyone to conquer the entire chaos world, defeat the god of chaos, and lead the civilization of the chaos world to eternity." When these words came out, everyone present was about to despair. Wolingzi even felt dizzy, and Wu Daozi was almost in complete despair. He was not interested in the civilization of the chaos world at all. He only wanted revenge, revenge. Prince Li Ming's body shook violently, and then he said hoarsely, "Your Majesty Demon King, you are our creator. Other than you, we don't recognize anyone." Yes, we don't recognize anyone. Not only Li Ming, but also Dongli and Wu Daozi. In short, almost all the first-class and second-class evil spirits shouted loudly, wanting the Demon King Wentian to take back his order. The Demon King Wentian said slowly, "I'm very sorry, whether you agree or not, you can't change anything. As long as Yang Dingtian has the primordial evil spirit, he and the Demon King's dead concubine will naturally have all the power. Whether you are a first-class evil spirit or a second-class evil spirit, you will have to completely hibernate under his will. The entire Legion of Doom will have to listen to any of his orders." When these words came out, almost all the evil ways present were in despair. Devil King Wentian spoke unhurriedly. Not only that, the Devil Queen's dead concubine, the Hades Sea's Wu Yu, the Mermaid Queen, the Snake People Empire's Sea Heart Queen, and the Celestial Spirit Master, Azura Spirit Vulture, will all become Yang Dingtian's wives. Today is their wedding day. Suddenly, Wolingzi could not bear it anymore and directly fainted. Prince Li Ming suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood and said in a trembling voice, "Foster father, then what about my wedding?" The Demon King Wentian's eyes shrank and said, "As for whether Mu Dan will continue to marry you, I don't have the final say. You will listen to the decree of the new Demon King." Li Ming trembled violently and spat out another mouthful of blood. He could not help but recall every scene of himself and Yang Dingtian. He won every time and trampled on Yang Dingtian. In the yin-yang mirror, he was so proud. Yang Dingtian was like an ant in front of him. How many times did he play with Yang Dingtian in the palm of his hand? However, the heavens were just so unfair. Some people, no matter how many times they lost, could still easily trample on you. No matter how hard Prince Li Ming worked, no matter how hard he worked, he was just a laughable whetstone. Why? Foster father? Li Ming said hoarsely. The Demon King Wentian said slowly, "Because he is Yang Dingnan." Li Ming bent down in incomparable pain and then retreated into the crowd, his entire body bent down. At this moment, almost everyone had the same thought in their minds. The Demon King Wendian treated Yang Dingtian so kindly, as if he was the Demon King's illegitimate son. After saying all this, all the drinking and delicacies in the entire hall stopped. It was completely dead silent. The Demon King Wendian looked at Yang Dingtian. "Little brother, for you, I almost hurt all my followers." Yang Dingtian bowed slightly to express his respect. The Demon King Wendian suddenly raised his voice and said, "Okay, the most exciting moment has arrived. Play the wedding march." Immediately, the band began to play. The extremely familiar wedding march sounded in Yang Dingtian's ears. This feeling was really strange, as if he was on Earth. The Demon King Wendian whispered, "Don't you miss everything on Earth? So this is a gift for you and also a gift for me. Although we can't go back, at least we can feel the Earth that we used to be familiar with." Yang Dingtian replied, "Many thanks. You have troubled me." As the wedding march sounded, suddenly, the entire Skirich imperial capital lit up. Then, all the dark castles outside lit up. The entire Empire of Darkness was completely bright. Then, countless energy fireworks were released in the void of the entire Empire of Darkness. Whether it was in the chaotic world, on modern Earth, or even on television, Yang Dingtian had never seen such a resplendent and grand fireworks party. Fireworks were everywhere in the Empire of Darkness. Incomparably resplendent fireworks. On the fireworks, lines of words from Earth bloomed. They were all classic poems from Earth. There was the Book of Songs, the three-character classic, Capital, and Mao Zedong's quotations. There was also Tangshi, Song Ci, Tagore, Hemingway, and Gorky. Finally, the fireworks in the sky also wrote the names of Yang Dingtian's wives and children. All of this was a gift for Yang Dingtian. Even Yang Dingtian was stunned for a moment, feeling that he had really become the illegitimate son of the Demon King Wendian. If he hadn't understood the dark and cruel truth of this world, Yang Dingtian would have been deeply moved. In the end, all the fireworks only had one pattern. That was countless hearts, red hearts, pink hearts, blue hearts, green hearts, and white hearts. Although the Demon King Wendian had given everyone unprecedented despair and shock, all the guests couldn't help but be intoxicated by this beautiful scene. It was too beautiful and romantic. Of course, Prince Li Ming was an exception. That was because his creator had actually prepared all of this for his enemy. The more beautiful the scene outside was, the more his heart was riddled with holes. Even all the struggles in the past had become meaningless. In the wedding march, suddenly, a purple-red light lit up on the horizon. Then, a gorgeous purple flying dragon dragged a purple-gold carriage and slowly flew over. On it sat a devastatingly beautiful woman wearing a purple-red wedding dress. She was the Queen Devil Queen. Immediately after, a blue light lit up from another direction. Then, a gorgeous blue flying dragon dragged a blue and gold dragon carriage and slowly flew over. On it, there was another beauty at the top of the pyramid, Wu Yu of the Netherworld Sea. The third beautiful flying dragon and its dragon chariot were golden in color. The woman on the carriage was graceful and not inferior to the mermaid queen of the void Piao Ling and Wu Yu. Next, the fourth beautiful flying dragon and the dragon carriage it was dragging was green. The woman in the carriage was also the pinnacle of beauty and power, the queen of the Snakeman Empire, Hai Exing. Finally, a pink flying dragon and a pink golden carriage appeared. Sitting on it was the enchanting and gorgeous Shura vulture. At this moment, it was her most glorious and arrogant time. She even forgot that the person she wanted to curry favor with was Yang Dingtian. She didn't care. In short, she only knew that she was one of the wives of His Majesty the Demon King. She had finally become one of the rulers of this world. She had finally stood at the peak of this world's power. The 5 brides walked down from the golden dragon carriage and walked into the hall. In an instant, the energy lights in the entire hall dimmed. All the light was focused on their wedding gowns and their beautiful faces. Every bride was so beautiful that it was suffocating. Every bride stood at the peak of the pyramid. Every bride made all the men in the world bow down to her. They were captivated by her dreams, but they were also ashamed of themselves. However, tonight, these 5 brides were going to become a man's wife. He really wanted to attract the jealousy of many people in the world. Then, without a doubt, this man should be struck by lightning. The 5 brides slowly walked along the steps towards the throne of darkness, towards Yang Dingtian and the Demon King Wenyin. Everyone's gaze was attracted by their figures. Step by step, they had a myriad of bearings. No matter how beautiful their steps were, there would always be a moment when they finished. The 5 brides neatly arrived in front of Yang Dingtian and the Demon King Wenyin. They weren't on the same level as the other girls. Instead, they stood in a beautiful diagonal line on the first step. The Queen Devil Queen stood in the first place. The Demon King Wenyin came in front of the dead concubine, Nothingness Piao Ling, and asked slowly, "Nothingness Piao Ling, are you willing to marry this new Demon King in front of you, the leader of this human kingdom, the ruler of this chaotic world?" The Queen Devil Queen bowed slightly and said softly, "I am willing." The Demon King Wenyin asked Yang Dingtian, "Yang Dingen, are you willing to marry the Devil Queen, Nothingness Piao Ling, as your wife?" In an instant, everyone's eyes were focused on Yang Dingtian. Because this represented Yang Dingtian's ultimate declaration. Yang Dingtian did not let everyone feel uneasy for long. Instead, he said directly, "I am willing." The Demon King Wendian took out a gem box and opened it. Inside was a resplendent ring, and the gems on it were all purple-red. He handed it to Yang Dingtian. "Go put on the wedding ring for your Devil Queen." "Yang Dingen, it's better to use my own ring." Then, he took out a ring carved from nothingness stone from his bosom and slowly put it on Queen Devil Queen's jade-like finger. Immediately, the Demon King Wentian's flaming eyes trembled slightly. Because Yang Dingtian's actions represented an extraordinary meaning. The Devil Queen, Nothingness Piao Ling, was also slightly stunned. Then, with a sweet smile, she let Yang Dingtian put the nothingness ring on her ring finger. Not only that, but Yang Dingtian also went forward and hugged her slender waist gently. He then kissed her delicate lips gently. In an instant, the temperature of the entire hall seemed to suddenly rise by a few degrees, but then suddenly drop by a few degrees. After kissing for a full 3 minutes, Yang Dingtian let go of the Devil Queen, Nothingness Piao Ling. The Demon King Wenyan paused for a moment, then walked down a step and arrived in front of Wu Yu. He slowly said, "Lord of the Netherworld Sea, daughter of the former chairman of Little Western Paradise, Wu, are you willing to marry the new Demon King in front of you?" Wu Yu first looked deeply at the Demon King Wenyan, then nodded and said, "I am willing." The Demon King Wenyan looked at Yang Dingtian. "Are you willing to take Wu Yu as your wife?" Yang Dingtian nodded and said, "I am willing." The Demon King Wenyan said, "Then, put the ring on her, if you have prepared a second one." Yang Dingtian once again took out a ring carved from nothingness stone and slowly put it on Wu Yu's jade-like finger. Then, he gently hugged her beautiful waist and deeply kissed her. The Devil Queen's delicate body suddenly trembled. She clearly felt that her body was truly blooming for the first time. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.